fact, now that I think about it,
All right, we're going to have audio this time.
I'm told, is a big gaseous ball burning in space in a vacuum. By the way, since we're on the subject of vacuums, fire, the element by which the sun exerts its energy, and I don't care if it's nuclear fission or what, it's still fire, needs what element, folks, in order to continue to burn? Oxygen.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE and welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what the Cylons did to the 12 colonies of man. And what I did to my opponent in my previous debate. If you saw my previous debate hosted on Journalism's channel with True Earth, True Man, I'm basically in trouble for committing murder. This may look like my normal streaming location in my home in Scotland, but I can assure you this is a NASA CGI green screen. I am in fact on the secret NASA moon base in hiding from the authorities. Murder is apparently frowned upon, especially when you stream it live. Tonight we will be going over to X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, and we will be debating the Globeslayer. Now, I'm assuming by the name he will be attempting to dismiss the globe by misunderstanding physics and stuff, but you know, maybe there'd be some flat Earth. I can't even say that. Flat Earth evidence. Not going to happen. So, hello everybody. Thank you very much for joining. Some super chats already. It's a Rubik's $2 pre-stream NASA hush money. You know what to do. I'm on the moon base. She could have just handed that to me. West Side Girl reacts and says, "Raise one up for Limey. Rest in peace, you beautiful bastard." Icy Spin for $1.99 says, "I'm here for the elephants, lions, and rings of fire." The Great Shyamalan with Ding Dong for £2 says, "One for Limey." Yeah, you'll be missed. You'll be missed, Limey. And Jiffy Jiff World gives 5 memberships, getting the hype train started. So let's not delay. Let's go over there and get this on. I don't think it's a format or anything. I'm pretty sure it's just going to be, you know, ignorance and stupidity in abundance and me going, oh, come on, man. So enjoy. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Please share the stream, smash the like button, subscribe if you're not already. Hello, hello, hello. Ready whenever they are. Where is my mouse? Oh, I appear to have lost my ability to speak in the space. I'm not sure why. Let's get... Plus my mouse doesn't appear to be working. Wonderful. There we go. Come on, mouse. Sorry, one sec, guys. fighting technology. No, I'm still there. I just, no one else is talking. Hello? Anyone there? The host is muted, so we're just waiting for him to talk. Oh my god, what's going on with my mouse, man? And for some reason my mouse does not want to work today. Here we go. On over here. Thank you. Oh god, where did that just go? Hello, anyone here? As you can see, the host himself is muted, so I'm here, just waiting for them. Wonderful start, hey? Oh, what did I click? Oh god. Oh, what is going on? Ah. Sorry, one sec. My computer has muted itself. Give me 1 second. Hello?
FTFE, you can't hear none of us? This is crazy, y'all. Hello, level heads.
I appear to be having technical issues. Great way to start.
Like,
something is
like
so
all,
weird. What is it? Ah, it's that.
Like all,
okay, there
like
we go.
all
There we go.
Like all glow earthers.
Hello, Globeslayer. How are we?
Can you hear us, Craig?
Okay?
Yes, we can. Now I pressed the right buttons.
All right, glad you can finally hear me. We've been waiting on you.
How are we doing?
You got it, bro.
All right, so we've got a non-structured debate going on here. We're going to try to keep it freestyle. We're going to try to keep it civil. No ad homs. It looks like we lost Craig again.
No, I'm here.
Craig, you still there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Well, when Craig gets back, we'll do a short introduction if
I'm
we
here.
can get him in here to stay.
I'm here. I'm literally here, and it says I'm connected. Don't know why they can't hear me. I didn't press anything. It's all still on. Right, I'll refresh. But as you can see, guys, I'm still there, and it says that I'm on. I'll mute, unmute, and unmute. Hello, I'm here. I'll refresh.
Craig, are you back?
I've never left. No, you refresh and go back in. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Mic check 1 2 3. Well, this is going fantastically, isn't it? Anyone gonna say anything?
Craig, are you back to stay this time?
I never left. You guys can hear that, right? You can hear them, and I'm connected. Yeah, so we all hear you. I can see you. I can hear you. I am connected. My mic is on. Can you hear me? Do you have me muted? I don't know what's going on here. Mute, unmute. Hello, hello. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing.
Well, I guess Craig's still having trouble, guys.
I'm connected. I can hear you. Do you have me muted? So, they could hear me before. I have no idea why they can't now. Going fantastically.
Well, if Craig can't get in, are there any other globe earthers that want to step up?
I'm literally here. Hello? Are they pretending they can't hear me? I've literally no idea what's happening here. Because I'm fully connected to the space. Yeah, I'm even a co-host there, and the audio settings were working just now. Nothing has changed. Mic check 1, 2, 3. Yeah, everyone hears me. They all hear me. Everything's going out properly.
What's up, Brian? You want to entertain us for a minute?
Where'd your boy go, man?
I'm here. I'm literally here.
I don't know,
He's having
brother.
trouble operating in space, which I just find ironic.
Right. Could someone maybe on my side join the space and tell them that I am here? And I don't know why it's not working. It must be. Yeah, I'll rejoin.
Vacuum, you will die. All right, I'm back, listener. Let's see if we can handle it, man. This Twitter stuff
you there?
Can get confusing for these globies.
Well, you've got to give me permission to speak. I'm waiting to join as a speaker. I'll put that big so everyone can see that I am waiting for permission to join. Request sent. So,
well, I see 2 or 3 Craigs in here. None of them are speaking.
Yeah, because you haven't given me permission to speak. You need to make me a speaker. I genuinely think that they're just mucking about.
And there he goes again. He's gone.
No, I'm not gone. I'm still there. I am here. Look, I'm there. See, it says that I'm there. I haven't left. I am still there. So, is it me or is it them? That's the question.
Damn, this is convenient.
I'm literally here. I'd be fun showing him this stream afterwards, as I am literally there. Right. Join as co-host. I will click the button. Right.
Sorry, everybody. I'd have had some music queued up for you, but I didn't realize we were going to be waiting so long on Craig.
Can you hear me? Mic check 1, 2. See, I've joined. I'm unmuted. There's no reason they should not be able to hear me.
Is he having technical issues?
Nope, not me. Not at all.
Brian, you're going to have to pretend to be a Globie and debate me tonight.
Man, I don't know if
I'm
I'll
literally
get my
there,
ass smoked
literally
on that, man.
connected.
I mean, you gotta be crazy to fucking be on that. But no, man. Old Craig over here. I mean, we got like 90 people here watching him fumble and stumble with this
mic check,
this
1, 2,
mic
3.
here,
Anyone
man.
there?
Man, I wonder how many people on YouTube are noticing this.
Well, everyone on YouTube is seeing me connected and you not hearing me. So I don't
I'm
know
pretty
why.
sure you're just blaming it on me. That's what it sounded like earlier.
Oh, that's
I'm
what I was going
literally
to
here.
say, man.
Look.
I think he's going to say you messed them all up. So I just want to come in.
Whilst
and
they're
let
saying
everybody
this,
know
you can all
that's
hear
pretty
it.
easy to work in
Look,
space.
see? Mute. Right. I'm muted. I am
got my,
unmuted. I am
spacesuit
currently
on,
talking.
And, maybe that's what
but
he
it's
needs.
not going
He's got to
through.
put on his helmet and get that 13 layers going on there, so he can get his cloth suit working in a vacuum.
Well, I don't know what they're playing at. Hello, can you hear
Where
me?
you at, Craig?
I'm here. I'm literally here.
92 people
zero
waiting on
settings.
you, bro. 92, just on this side of the fence, man.
Yeah. Well, there's people here as well.
Well, he's got to make sure his channel's working so he can get paid for this.
Well,
Exactly.
it is
He's got-
working.
You got to
I
get
am here.
paid.
He ain't gonna waste his time not getting
Right,
paid.
mic check. I'm just
I
double
feel
checking
that,
that
man. I've been
everything's
called a
going through
gripper
as
all
it
day
should.
long, man.
All the settings are correct.
I just don't know how.
That blue check, man. It's that blue check.
It's all there.
It's funny, man. If getting the blue check gets me money, I don't know why everybody isn't getting the blue check.
Right. Let me shut down
Seriously.
the page and bring it back up. See if that helps. Oops. So, yeah, I do not know what's happening because I was connected. I haven't changed anything. And they keep saying I'm leaving, and I'm not. You can all see that I was not leaving. Possibly be an issue with X. No, wrong. Let's go to X. Go back in.
He's one of those guys that stumbles
Can you
out
hear
the
me?
gate but finishes strong.
Are you there? Hello? Hello?
I don't think he's even arrived at the gate yet.
Ooh, where's-
I'm
I
literally
think he's
there.
still stuck in traffic.
Yeah, I've
Let's
messaged
see.
the guy through Discord, through X, but he's not reading his messages. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh,
I can hear you.
him.
Yeah, well, I've been here the whole time.
No one. You just.
No way, man.
Yeah, well, you can check the YouTube stream where it will show me being connected, listening to you saying I'm not here, going, oh, he's left, oh, he's back, when I didn't leave at all. I could hear the entire conversation. So I don't know what's been going on with X, but I've literally not changed any settings. I've just clicked again, and now all of a sudden you can hear me. So, I don't know, maybe Musk has got a problem with it.
Just keep pushing those buttons. Got you here, man. But yeah, everybody just saw you pop up right now, man.
Well, yeah, but if you watch my YouTube stream, you can see the fact that I've been here the whole time.
I'm never gonna watch your YouTube stream, man.
That's all right, I'll clip it and send it to you.
All right, well, let's get started since you're here.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, I'm
All
gonna.
right, so
Good,
we're kind of doing a
guys.
freestyle debate here. We haven't agreed to any kind of structure. We're just going to try to keep it civil. No ad hocs. We're going to take turns. We're not going to talk over each other, right, Craig?
Roger, Roger.
All right, so if you want to do a brief introduction, let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah, give me just 1 second. People are saying you're a bit loud on my side, so just turn that down. Okay, hello, my name is Craig. I run the YouTube channel FTFE. You can find it at youtube.com/FTFE1. I debunk the nonsense that is the flat earth. It's very, very easy to debunk. Been doing physics and science my whole life. My career depended on it. And I started this YouTube channel because I thought it was funny, and I still do. I very much enjoy debating flat earthers because it gives me an opportunity to teach actual physics to people that might not know it. So I very much always appreciate the conversation, especially when it is civil. Thank you very much for having me.
Hey everybody, I go by the alias Globeslayer. You can find me on X at Globeslayer33. I posit the Earth to be a stationary topographical plane, and through research and experience, I've determined that water at rest does not bend and distribute evenly over a spherical surface, and through interferometry has not demonstrated Earth in motion. Craig, I've brought you here under false pretenses. This is an intervention. It's been brought to my attention that you have a problem, and you're detached from reality. Following this globe Earth model, but we got you into the best facility that money can't buy, and you don't even have to go anywhere. It's called Flat Earth, and we're going to help you through this transition here tonight.
Yeah, lovely. Just as I'm debating you from space with satellites orbiting the globe, let's go for that, shall we?
Sounds good. Let's do it. Did you have a topic that you wanted to start off with, or would you rather me to start off?
You go for it. I'm just wondering if it's going to be a case of you giving any evidence for the flat Earth, or the normal case of you attacking the globe by misrepresenting the physics. I'm just wondering which direction we're going to go.
Well, we got to this assumption of a globe Earth under a lot of presumptions. Aristotle, he viewed an eclipse and he saw a circular shadow, and that was enough for him. And a circular flat Earth could do this as well, but he didn't posit that.
Sorry,
Pythagoras, he liked spheres.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there. You said a circular flat Earth could cause the shadow on the moon during an eclipse.
It could, yes.
Yeah, but you understand that there has to be something between the sun and the moon for that to happen, and how would the flat Earth get in the way of the moon from the sun? Is the sun going underneath? Because in the Discworld model, made famous by Terry Pratchett, to set, the sun obviously has to go underneath the disc, and two of the elephants have to move their leg to allow it to pass as it comes around the other side. So are you suggesting that the actual disc of the flat Earth gets in between the sun and the moon to cause the shadow?
Well, that's indeed a possibility. The circular flat Earth could definitely cause this circular shadow.
Could you explain the mechanism by which that would be possible, please?
Anyways, well, let me finish with my Greek stuff here. And Pythagoras, he liked spheres, and he thought that they were perfect. And that was pretty much his reasoning there. He never did anything to prove it. And then people like Eratosthenes came up, and they built on these presumptions. And Eratosthenes obviously wasn't trying to prove a sphere; he was trying to measure the Earth.
He knew the Earth was a sphere. Yeah.
So we went from a long line of just accepting logic such as, "Oh, I like spheres," and we went to asserting this as unshakable knowledge. Galileo, he worked on orbits, and he drew them out as a spherical surface because he thought that flat would have been disorderly, and he just wanted to keep it simple. Columbus, he did the east to west circumnavigation, and he thought that going east to west would prove a globe, but circumnavigation is possible on a flat Earth as well.
Okay. Can we go back to the question I asked then, if that's okay?
Sure, ask again.
Yeah, could you explain the mechanism by which a flat Earth would cast a circular shadow upon the moon during the eclipse? Bear in mind that other parts of the world can still see the sun.
Well, it's possible that the flat Earth could be sitting at an angle and causing a circular shadow.
Would still indicate that the moon would be not visible from the locations from which the sun was casting? If the Earth is flat, the sun's above it and the moon is above it, regardless of the angle, there's not going to be anything in between them. For the mechanism for the flat Earth to cast that circular shadow would literally require the sun to go underneath the disk of the Earth, which isn't the case because, you know, parts of the Earth have sun at the same time.
And do you have any evidence for that?
The evidence for what exactly? That parts of
For
the
your
Earth
assertion?
are always lit up at the same time. Do you want evidence that parts of the Earth are always lit up? Is that what you're asking for?
No, that's not what I was asking for.
Well, what evidence are you asking for specifically then? You said, do I have evidence, but the evidence of what?
You have evidence that this couldn't possibly be done from a spherical Earth, not a spherical Earth, but a round, flat Earth.
Yeah, because the only way to cast a circular shadow on the moon is to have the flat Earth in between the moon and the sun. It couldn't happen if the Earth is at an angle, because both the sun and the moon could be seen in the sky by different parts of the world at the same time. So what you're saying doesn't make sense in reality, in physical reality. That is not something that can happen. You can conceptualize how what you're claiming is impossible, right?
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Right. So there's no way, there's no explanation on a flat Earth of any model for the circular shadow on the moon during an eclipse. Well, I've heard an attempt at an explanation that there's an invisible body that we can't see. I always would wonder how it casts a shadow, but I'm not saying that that's what you say. But assuming there's no invisible bodies that also cast shadows, then there is no explanation for what we see during an eclipse, apart from the Earth being a globe.
So at 93 million miles, the sun would have to strike. It'd have to strike certain points at the Earth at a constant angle. But in reality, that's what we don't see. The sun illuminates the Earth at different angles.
Yeah, the sun is much, much, much bigger than Earth. So there is all different angles lighting at the same time. But there will also be that particular area where the moon is in the shadow of the sun. Right? It's very simple. Imagine a big sphere to your left, and then a smaller sphere to the right of that, and then an even smaller sphere to the right of that. If that really small sphere on the very right is in the right part, when they're in alignment, there will be a shadow where none of the light from the big thing on the left reaches it. This is easier to describe visually, but I shouldn't really have to explain 3D space, to be honest. But the point is that what the explanation doesn't make sense on the flat Earth. There is no reason for the shadow on the moon during an eclipse if the Earth is flat.
I'd have to disagree with you there.
You can disagree. I mean, that's also called being wrong, unless you can provide me the mechanism by which it is possible. I mean, really, there is no explanation for excuse me, a circular shadow on the moon during an eclipse if the Earth is flat and both the sun and the moon are above the Earth. Oh my goodness. This is very, very basic geometry.
You're also presuming that the Earth is moving and not the sun. And even Einstein said the two sentences, the sun is at rest and Earth moves, or the sun moves and the Earth is at rest, are simply two different conventions concerning two different coordinate systems.
Yeah, within relativity, if you can consider any particular thing a rest frame, that's the entire point of relativity. Everything is relative. However, we have the other observational evidence that it is in fact the Earth that is moving, as well as clear measurements of Earth's rotation or rotation around its own axis, because obviously the Earth does rotate on its own axis, which is very easily measurable thanks to the forces imparted due to that.
So you mentioned relativity. Do you subscribe to Einstein's model of gravity or Newton's?
They're both the same thing. They describe the exact same thing. One's just way more accurate. The argument of, it has to be one or the other is not correct. One superseded the other. Superseded doesn't mean we throw the other thing away. It just means that it's a better explanation. To give you an analogy, within the video game market, you have generations of consoles. You have the Xbox One, which was Microsoft's least successful console, which was in competition directly with the PlayStation 4. Now, the next generation, the Xbox Series X, superseded the Xbox One. Does that mean the Xbox One stopped working and stopped playing games and stopped being functional? No, it didn't. There is just a better version. Einstein's explanation of gravity is a lot more accurate and gives us a much more intricate understanding of the mechanisms behind what causes it. That doesn't mean Newton was wrong, he just wasn't as accurate. He wasn't as precise as Einstein is.
So I want to point out the most major difference is that Newton assumed gravity was felt everywhere in the universe instantly.
He did, yeah.
So
Yes, absolutely.
it traveled at infinite speeds. And Einstein asserted that space-time was bending and that it was constrained by the speed of light.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
that was the problem with accuracy. Yeah, that's where the problem with accuracy came in, because obviously within non-relativistic frames, short distances, low speeds, Newton's calculations work perfectly fine. It's only under relativistic conditions, like going extremely fast or extremely large masses, that Newton's calculations don't really work, and you have to then rely on Einstein's calculations instead, because they are a lot more intricate and explain things a lot more accurately. For the purposes that we use on Earth, assuming that gravity travels instantly is perfectly viable, because the distances that we are dealing with are so small that it doesn't matter. But, that's not really the case, and that's why modeling uses assumptions, because when it's close enough to model something, then, that's good enough. Doesn't mean that Newton was wrong, he just didn't understand the entire mechanics behind it, and Einstein came along and gave a better explanation with more complicated mechanics and a more intricate and accurate way of describing what gravity is.
So is this your complicated way of saying that you subscribe to Einstein's?
No, again, they're both the same. You can use either depending on the circumstances.
So depending on the circumstances, I have to pick and choose and go back and forth.
Well, let's say, for instance, you wanted to calculate the force due to gravity on a bridge that you were building when certain masses of trucks were going over it. For those purposes, you could either use Newton's equation, the Newton's law of gravity, Fg equals gm1 m2 over r squared, or you could use Einstein's tensor equations. Now, both will give you the same result, to within a few decimal points. And one of them will take a lot more work and is a lot more complicated and isn't really needed. And that's Einstein's. You can use Newton's equations for those purposes and it will work perfectly fine. You could use Einstein, but there's no point. Einstein's tensor equations derive down to Newton's law of gravity. They describe the same thing under non-relativistic conditions. Building a bridge is non-relativistic. It's fine. We can work with that in a Newtonian sense of physics. If we wanted to calculate how much light and mass is being ejected from a black hole, using Newton would be pointless. We would use Einstein's equations for that, because they would be a much better way of understanding the complicated things that are happening.
I'm sorry to backtrack, but when we were talking about the eclipses, is there any way that you can demonstrate that a shadow is the cause of these eclipses?
Yeah, we've got satellites in space that have seen the things.
Well, you've heard of a selenian eclipse, correct?
Yeah, just explainable by the globe model because refraction exists.
Well, where's the shadow in a selenian eclipse?
Where it's supposed to be.
Where would that be?
Where do you think it is? I'm not going to make your arguments for you. If you want to talk about the Selenian eclipse, then describe the Selenian eclipse and the problems with it.
Well, it's your model, so I was hoping you could explain it to me.
So, well, the shadows are where they're supposed to be, which would have not really, if you were to look at it, without understanding the full mechanics, makes sense. But because the light is being bent through the atmosphere, the shadow is exactly where we expect it to be. You have to obviously take into account that refraction is a thing and will bend the light at the appropriate angle.
So exactly where it's supposed to be. I like that one. Okay. So is there any reason that we can't apply any kind of gravitational model to any and all causes?
What do you mean? What do you mean it can't apply gravitational model to any and all causes? Any and all causes of what?
Why do I have to go back and forth between the models? Why isn't there a gravitational model that I can apply in all situations?
Again, if you wanted to use Einstein's equations, then that's fine. You can do that to figure out the forces applied to the bridge with trucks going over it. That's fine. It's going to take you a lot longer, and you probably need the supercomputer to do the calculations. Or you could do it with Newton's equations, which are a lot simpler, but will provide an accurate enough result to build that bridge. It's the right tools for the right job. You wouldn't use a supercomputer to calculate 1 + 1. You could do that, but if you wanted to calculate pi to a million digits, you would use a powerful computer. There's different tools for different jobs.
All right, so let's talk about the sun.
Okay, what about the sun?
So where do you get your presumptions that the sun's 93 million miles away? Can you demonstrate this?
Well, that's not a presumption. It's been measured with radar.
And,
I can happily share the scientific papers with you describing the experiment.
Sure, yeah. If you want to post them up here on the nest there, that'd be great.
On where? Sorry. How do you put things up there?
You know how to use the jumbotron, the nest here.
I don't think I can put things on that from the PC. I don't know. I've not really used Spaces before. How do I post on there?
You write it in the comments, and you click on the 3 dots and share to Space.
Yeah, I don't think I have that option here. I will just send it to you by messenger, and you can put it up if you like. I'd have to grab it quickly. But actually giving you it right now isn't important. I can get it for you anytime you want. In fact, you can even find it yourself. It's an experiment from the 1960s where they use radar to measure the distance to the sun. Obviously, I don't have that at hand right now. I'd have to go and grab it and then give it to you. But the fact that it's been done, measured by radar, and then there's many other ways we can do it. We've also measured the size of Venus with radar, and then you can literally use the transit of Venus across the sun to figure out the distance to the sun. There's also probes that have been sent to the sun. Obviously, you guys will just instantly claim that NASA is fake and pre-dismiss all evidence that comes from any space agency. But NASA have sent probes to the sun that went within the sun's corona. I don't agree that it's an assumption. Measurements aren't assumptions.
And how do they define the accuracy of measurement with radar?
The machines will have a margin of error. Radar is a known technology. The speed of light is a known thing. So if you send a signal out and get it back, then you can measure the time that it's taken. Compare that to the speed of light and figure out the distance. It's kind of a basic calculation.
So 93 million miles on a curved surface, the sun should change in angular size, but yet it doesn't.
The sun changes in angular size a very, very small amount, the exact amount predicted actually. But to throw that back at you, if the Earth was flat and the sun was local, going around above us, the sun would noticeably change in angular size throughout the day. It doesn't change noticeably. It changes the exact tiny, tiny, tiny amount predicted by the distance away it is, not the massive 10 times plus difference that you would expect with a small local sun. Can you explain that?
Well, it does change noticeably enough, and I've actually got some demonstrations of that.
And when you say demonstrations, are those demonstrations done with a camera having a solar lens to remove all glare to see the actual size of the sun?
Yes, they are.
With an actual proper solar lens?
Yeah, there's actually done by a Glober. I think his name is
which
Wolf.
Glober was this? Wolfie.
His name is Wolfie. We've got some stills.
Wolfie showed the sun not changing in angular size. So I don't know what you're talking about.
I disagree, and I have stills to show you that.
No, again, I've seen that video many times. There is no change in angular size that is outside the predictions by the globe model. The tiny bit it changes is what we expect. What we don't have is the massive change that you must have if the Earth is flat and the sun is local.
If the sun was really 93 million miles away, you shouldn't be able to notice any change in the size of the sun.
There would be a predicted amount of change that you could measure with the right tools. Now, are you talking about the point where the sun went to the horizon and was affected by refraction, or because I've heard that argument before from Gary Wabenga?
Partially, that's not the only point that the sun changes angular size.
And how much is the change in angular size? And have you compared the change that you can see to the predictions of the globe model?
Yes, I've got a few comparisons I can show you, but you were saying you weren't able to see anything I posted on here, so that makes it a little difficult.
Well, I just see the picture that you posted and then a reply to someone.
Okay, yeah, I haven't posted it yet. I'll post it now.
Right, and then I'll see if it can come up. But again, I want to be specific. Did you compare it to the actual predictions of the globe model to see if it's correct or not? You there?
Yeah, I'm posting that up for you right now.
Wait, I think I know the video you're talking about. So the video you're talking about, yeah, he shows the sun changing angular size, but then he puts on the solar filter and shows that it doesn't change angular size. I want to make sure that you're showing the part with the solar filter on and not the solar filter off.
All right, so I just put that up there for you. That's a comparison of Wolfie's video there.
The two very small dots.
Look at them side by side. You don't see the noticeable there.
But again, the question was, did you take this from the part of the video with the solar filter on? Because there's two parts of the video, one where he has the solar filter off and one where he has it on.
Yes, it is. It is.
Right. And I just see two very small dots. And again, I'd see no analysis, no details of what percentage it is, the comparison compared to the actual model of the globe. I just see two very small circles.
We'll blow them up and count pixels if you want to, but it's there, and it's pretty significant.
Have you counted the pixels?
I have not.
Ah, right. So you want me to do your job for you? The thing is, if you're going to present evidence, I would kind of expect details about the evidence, the percentage difference, exactly, and then I would like to have that compared to the official model, or what what the model would say. Yeah. So if you don't have those details, all you have is two bits of the sun. It's not really anything to go on without anything to compare. You haven't done any analysis, have you?
I had no issues discerning the size difference in those. I honestly didn't think.
And have you overlaid them? Have you counted the pixels, or are you just saying I see a size difference without actually, presenting any evidence of there being a size difference?
That's a very apparent size difference.
Not to me. I'm gonna quickly download that picture and blow it up. So give me 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
Magnifying glass. Not really. And what part of those is that from two different parts of the video? Hello?
That's an overlay of the video there. comparing in the size. As yes, they're from different parts of the video, but there's obviously a change
And
in
both
angular
of those
size.
parts are from the part with 0 filter on, or with the filter on.
Oh, with the filter.
All right. Have you got the timestamps of those two parts?
The timestamps are on the photo.
All right, let me zoom back out. 18. The timestamps of the actual video, not of the camera. I'll have to bring that up separately and double check. But again, have you compared actually measured the difference? And the one on the right there actually looks like it's got quite a bit of glare on. So I don't even know if that is the part with the actual solar filter on.
So are you trying to say that that's glare?
Well, again, I'm going to have to look at the video, but all you've done is you've put two things next to each other. You haven't given me any details about them. You haven't shown that the screenshots were taken at the same ratio and not changed slightly when you were overlaying them. You haven't given me any measurements to show what the difference is between that and what we actually predict. All you're doing is going, well, look at that. Look, it looks like there's a bit of a change there. But that, if there is a change there, it's very, 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 very small, which goes against the Earth being flat and more to the sun being far away. Because if the Earth was flat, the change would be way more noticeable.
Actually, that pretty much. Well, I disagree with that point too.
Have you got any measurements to say that you could disagree with that point? How do you know how far up the sun is on the flat Earth?
Not precisely, but before we move on to another point,
Right.
I will address the flat Earth and angular size change. But I wanted to finish on this point first.
Okay.
So it's your assertion that I either tampered with the video or that's glare with a solar filter on? I just want to be clear.
No, I'm saying I don't know. I have nothing to really go on apart from this little screenshot. All right, hold on. I am actually just bringing up the...
there for comparison.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, dude. You took it from the bit with the not with the solar filter on, near the end. Oh my god.
No. That's
yeah,
not
I'm
true.
looking at this. I'm looking at the timestamps of it now. Let me just make it full screen so I can see. So we've got 1802, 2018, 1913. Let me just get to that. And then we got 1802, 1841. Yeah, so they're the parts at the beginning that doesn't have the solar filter on, not the bits at the end that does. (1802, 1841). It's just there. Right. So I'm looking at the bit right now with the solar filter on. Let me just bring that onto the screen so people can see that up here. Sorry, I'm just quickly analysing the evidence you're presenting. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, you're fine. That's understandable. That's why we usually present, ahead of time. But
So, right, I'm going to make that full screen on my stream so people can see. Because I'm going to go with the timestamps on the bit near the end. Right, so we've got 1802 to 1841, which will be about here. Right, so that's there. Now, bear with me. I'm actually getting a ruler against the screen. I'm even marking the screen with my pen. And then we're moving on to 1802 to 1913. I'm going to make a mark on my screen there, and then I'm going to quickly go and grab a tape measure. So if you would just give me 1 second, I'm just testing the evidence. If you give me 2 secs, I'll be back.
Yep, we're good.
Okay, sorry. I have a tape measure with millimeter markings. I've got quite a big screen, so let me just compare those markings I've made. So at this point, we have the sun being, get that on, got 1, 2, 3. So at this point, the sun is exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 millimeters. I'm going to go back to the other point to double check. 1841 on the first one, yeah. Okay. Now, let's go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Strange. Both of them come up as exactly 7 millimeters on my screen, like pixel perfect. And I've got quite a big screen. So when I go to the two timestamps that you have there, 1802, 2018, 1913, and 1802, 2018, 1841, near the end when he has a solar filter on, both come up to exactly 7 millimeters on my screen, which would indicate 0 change in angular size. So I've just done the measurements. You, I don't think, did the measurements. You said that, right?
That's correct. It's pretty obviously a different size.
Well, I've just measured it on the screen in real time, and they're both exactly 7 millimeters to the pixel on my screen at both of those timestamps. So, you know, I'm just saying that maybe you made a mistake whilst cropping the pictures and putting them next to each other. I'm not sure. I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm saying that maybe it's possible that you made a mistake and haven't done this correctly, which would show what would appear to be a slight bit of change. But if you actually do the measurements in real time, like I've just done physically on my screen, you'll find that they both work out to be pixel perfect the same. So I'm really sorry about that, but your evidence doesn't hold up.
So are you saying that the sun doesn't change angular size on a globe Earth now?
I'm saying it changes a tiny, tiny bit the amount predicted. Not a large amount that would be noticeable without some extremely accurate measuring equipment.
And if the sun's 93 million miles away, we shouldn't experience a change in the angular size whatsoever.
Well, there actually should be a change in angular size because the distance will slightly change depending on where you are on the Earth and the relative distance to the sun to the exact point on your Earth during the day. It's going to change very, very, very slightly, which will mean there will be a very, 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 very slight change in angular size, but it's going to be, you know, way down in the decimal points.
Right. Well,
but
if
you know, I'm just saying that
I
I literally just tested your evidence and measured it physically on my screen using my tape measure with millimeter markings on my quite large, I'll just show the camera the screen, quite large screen there at the side. So I've literally just tested your evidence, analyzed it, and I'm afraid it doesn't hold up to scrutiny.
So if you're on a curved surface that's rotating,
yeah,
and then you obviously the sun should change in angular size.
Very, very, very slightly, yes.
And your argument was against flat Earth was what?
That it would change loads if the Earth was flat and the sun is local, but it doesn't. That video that you presented, I have just tested and disagrees with your assertion that there's a change in angular size. I would suggest re-analyzing your evidence, redoing it, and counting the pixels as you do it to make sure that you aren't accidentally cropping or changing the size when you put them next to each other. Again, I'm not accusing you of doing anything. I'm just saying that I just tested your evidence, and anybody can do it for themselves. And in fact, I encourage people to do it for themselves. I see the link to the video has been posted in my chat by Desert File. Thank you very much. So if anyone wants to go and test the claim that Globeslayer has just made, I encourage them to do it as I have just done. And when you do it, you will find it doesn't hold up to scrutiny and the angular size doesn't change.
So on a flat Earth, as the sun's moving away from you,
yes,
as the apparent position reaches closer to the horizon, and as this angle becomes steeper, you're having to view the sun through an increasing amount of atmos and essentially 4% water. So as it's getting apparently closer to the horizon, you're viewing it through a lot more atmos, which can affect the size of it, which we've already demonstrated that regardless of the shape of the Earth, the sun does change angular size.
Not when you're looking at it throughout the day. When it reaches the horizon and there is much more refraction because of the atmosphere, then there could be changes in angular size due to the refraction. But that will be different each day, depending on the conditions. What you need to do is analyze the change in angular size, or apparent change in angular size, when the refraction is least, which would require you to look up, I would say, maybe 100-degree field of view of the sky, which would avoid the most refractive parts of the atmosphere nearer the ground.
If you were to watch some of the videos of the sunsets in the desert, you'd see that the atmos has a significant effect on the sun's appearance.
Yeah, again, I've just said that, sometimes during the horizon, the apparent angular size could change because the refractive conditions are stronger. Absolutely. Refraction absolutely happens out in the desert as well. But the sun setting, kind of impossible if the Earth is flat.
Well, it's only setting apparent to the observer on the ground. A sunset is observer specific. If it looks different depending on where you are, how fast you're moving. If you were to get in an airplane and you could fly 1,000 miles per hour west, the sun would never set. You would be chasing it and it would never set. It would never approach the horizon. You'd never see a sunset. It's an observer specific phenomenon.
Yeah, I'm aware of that because it's relative to your location to the sun and the Earth that you're standing on. Yeah, absolutely. You can watch the sunset twice by getting in an elevator and going up a tall building. So, I understand, but again, those are things that only make sense if the Earth is a globe. There's no reason increasing your elevation would allow you to see further if the Earth is flat.
That's a fallacy right there.
No, it's not a fallacy. That's just an explanation of geometry. Explaining things using geometry can't be a fallacy, I'm afraid.
So what was your argument against the flat Earth sunset? Against the things I've asserted so far.
Which one in particular? You've made a lot of assertions. You haven't presented any evidence for the Earth being flat. I did ask at the beginning which way this would go, if it would just be you questioning the globe and trying to poke holes in the globe, or if it would be giving evidence for the Earth being flat. Do you have any specific evidence of the Earth being flat, or is it just going to be poking holes in the globe because of physics that, with all due respect, you've clearly never studied?
Well, there's a little bit of both. Have you ever heard of phenomenology?
Of what, sorry? I didn't hear what you said. Of what?
Sorry. Have you ever heard of phenomenology?
Phenomenology. Describe it to me, please. Could you please describe phenomenology? Use it in a sentence?
Sorry, my mic got cut off. Phenomenology, yes, relying on your senses and your input receptors.
Well, okay, we talked about the right tools for the right jobs, didn't we?
Distinct from that of nature of being an approach that concentrates on the study of consciousness and objects of direct experience.
Okay, but we did discuss earlier about the right tools for the right job. Your body doesn't have the right tools to detect things like the motion of Earth. So,
why can't we, if we're rotating 1,000 miles an hour, why can't we feel this movement?
Well, we're rotating at 0.000694 RPM, which at the equator produces a centrifugal acceleration of 0.03 meters per second squared, which is absolutely tiny. You can use that equation to calculate the forces applied. Those forces are way below the threshold that your body is able to, actually detect. The forces from Earth's orbit around the sun are even less, because you have to understand that the Earth is traveling at 1 degree per day.
But we're actually on an elliptical orbit according to the globe model, which would mean that there is acceleration and deceleration happening at different points. We should be able to feel this change in speed.
Yeah, so the deceleration and acceleration happens over 6 months. It's not instantly, it's happening gradually over 6 months, because you go from the point furthest away from the sun to the point closest to the sun. Now, Earth's orbit is practically circular. The ellipticalness of it is very, very, very small. So the acceleration is also very, very small. That happens over 6 months, and then again over 6 months for deceleration. So the actual, again, the forces applied for that acceleration are below the threshold that our body would be able to detect.
It seems like even those kind of changes would be perceptible, especially to us on the ground. You know, a minor earthquake, you know, it knocks your books off the shelf. It shakes your house.
An earthquake would cause much more acceleration than the change between the furthest and closest points to the sun.
I agree, but I do also believe that our senses are more finely tuned than you give us credit for.
Well, you would just be incorrect with that. We literally do not have the capacity to detect an acceleration that is that small. It actually does not exist. And just asserting it doesn't change the fact that it doesn't.
So they've been trying to prove the Earth's motion for a really long time, and they've actually never succeeded. There's no actual demonstration of Earth's movement.
But that's incorrect. It's quite easy to measure Earth's rotation. I did it myself. I measured Earth's rotation around its own axis.
How did you do that?
I used a pendulum.
Oh, a pendulum. What kind of pendulum?
A big one.
A big pendulum.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah,
be a little
real
more
big
specific?
pendulum. I had a massive concrete block inside. Yeah, I had a big concrete block inside of a plastic housing attached by an extremely strong fishing wire to the top of an auditorium in Bristol University. I allowed it to swing for as long as it could, measured the angular drift, and compared that to how long it swung for. Did a bit of maths, figured out my latitude on Earth based just on the data that I gathered, which followed the evidence of a Foucault's pendulum measuring Earth's rotation.
So you made a Foucault's pendulum. That's what.
Well, yeah,
I was
that's what I
not
described.
thinking.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I needed to actually describe a Foucault's pendulum because it's just a big ass pendulum making sure that it's swinging freely.
So there's been quite a few. There's been a lot of lack of success with the Foucault's pendulum. Even Toon conceded that it's not a viable demonstration of Earth's rotation.
No, he didn't concede it's not a viable demonstration of Earth's rotation at all. And there's a problem with it if you don't set it up properly. Yeah, if you set it up properly, it works every single time. In fact, it's a prerequisite for passing a physics class. Again, no disrespect, but you clearly never studied physics at a higher education level. During a physics degree in the UK and in the USA, doing the Foucault's pendulum experiment is actually part of your undergraduate studies. You set up, design your own experiment, gather the data from it, and attempt to calculate your latitude on Earth. Every single person in my class got the same results, all using different materials, different size pendulums, different locations. There was no issues. Once any problems were getting away, like twist induced to the material you're using and things like that, once everything was set up properly, every experiment yielded the same results.
So there's been a lot of demonstration of using a control to try to demonstrate the effectiveness of the pendulum, and using the same materials and building the same pendulum, getting completely different results, going backwards, always swinging towards the meridian.
Have you got any evidence
They don't even work at the South Pole. I do. I actually can post some references.
Well, they do work at the South Pole. They once they actually got the experiment working correctly, it measured the Earth's rotation at the South Pole when they did it. And again, the only problems are when the experiment is not set up properly. Every single time the experiment is set up properly, you yield the same results, that you can calculate your latitude on the Earth.
So whenever these guys had this problem with their pendulum swinging around and coming back, and it was swinging around the other direction the next day,
Yeah, again, they had to adjust for any issues that they had, like twisting the rope, any problems with it being able to swing freely. You have to, sometimes science is brute force, right? You set up an experiment and you see what's wrong with it. Oh, well, that's causing a problem. We have to change that. Oh, that's causing a problem. We'll have to change that. And once you set up the experiment properly, you get all the variables sorted and it's done correctly, you get the same result every single time. If you doubt this, then I would suggest you perform the experiment yourself. You set it up correctly and do the experiment and see what results you get. Instead of relying on random bits of information you find on the internet about people claiming that it doesn't work. Because again, it does. When it's set up correctly, you measure the rotation of the Earth because you can actually calculate your latitude based on the forces applied.
Sounds like a parlor trick to me.
Could you describe
Sounds
a parlor
like you
trick?
have to control all the variables. Sounds like you're controlling all the variables to get the result that you want.
Well, no, the point is you're removing the variables, like an unwanted twist in a rope, a problem with the pivot point from which it's swinging, an uneven distribution of the mass on the end of the bob, any electrostatic forces. You want to remove the variables, not control them. Remove them. In an experiment like this, you have something called a control variable. The control variable would maybe be the actual size of the mass of the bob during different experiments or something. But other variables, things that could cause a problem, are things you want to remove, completely get rid of. And that's what you do, like I said, when you're setting up an experiment. Sometimes it's brute force to get it right, to remove all of the problems so that you can actually test the thing you are trying to test. That's just how science works.
The problem with this is you're not removing the variables. You're changing the weights. You're changing the size of these weights. You're changing the string. You're changing everything about this until it matches the result that you're wanting.
Oh, no, because what you want to do, right, if you would use a material that had inherent twisting in it, okay, that could cause a problem. Because over time, that twist could change, which could introduce unnecessary torque into the experiment. Right, so if you had that and then you realize that's a problem, you'd want to change it from material that didn't have that twist, so there would be no unnecessary torque added to the experiment. Right, that's not just setting it up to get the results you want, that is setting it up to test the thing that you want to test. You can't test something if there is something interfering with that test. But the fact remains, and let's be clear about this, you can use the Foucault pendulum experiment to calculate your latitude on Earth. The fact that works, the fact that anyone can do that at any time when the experiment's working correctly, is evidence that the Earth is a rotating sphere.
Well, if you're working backwards from a result that you're expecting to get, yeah, you can always achieve that.
Oh, so you don't like doing science
you're changing all the variables until they match.
No. Again, you are removing unnecessary variables that could interfere with the experiment, because you cannot test a specific thing if there is something interfering with that thing. You get that, right? So you don't want unnecessary drift, and a twist in a rope could cause unnecessary drift. You don't want the pivot point only allowing it to swing in 2 dimensions, because then you wouldn't be able to actually see what's going on. There would be friction caused. So if you set up the experiment and then you realize that there's a problem with the experiment because you've done something wrong, you change that to make sure it doesn't interfere with the experiment.
So how are you controlling for things like air currents and Earth's magnetism and things of that sort?
Change the material, shut the doors, make sure there's no air in the room that you're doing it. Which is things that I had. Again, an auditorium is very large and it can actually be quite windy, so we actually had to take great care to make sure that there was no air currents in the room at the time. These are things that you will make sure that you are removing unnecessary interferences of. It's just
and
how experiments work.
You had to physically start the pendulum yourself, did you not?
Yeah. I used a light. I used actually I had a candle. And let it burn a bit of string that was holding the pendulum up, so there would be only the pendulum's own inertia.
So there was no motor or magnets?
No.
And how long did you run this experiment for?
I can't remember exactly. It went for about 40 minutes before it was just too little to measure anymore.
The
I did it
movement of the
several times,
pendulum
of course.
itself, or the movement beneath the pendulum?
With the drift of, you understand what the Foucault's pendulum experiment shows, right? That it
Yeah,
drifts off of the
yeah.
straight line path. Yeah. So what I did was I measured the drift off of the straight line path, just like you would do. You measure the angle of the drift compared to the time, and then you do a simple bit of maths to figure out how many degrees it would change in 24 hours. And then you do another simple bit of maths called Foucault's sine law, which will allow you to calculate your latitude based on the amount of drift you get in 24 hours.
So you didn't let it run long enough to see what kind of variances you might have.
Well, I let it run for as long as it could. I didn't have any motors or anything to keep it going. I let it run until it stopped.
Again, I'm sorry, but it just sounds like a parlor trick to me.
Could you define a parlor trick?
As I said, you're controlling the variables until you get
No,
the
no,
result
I'm
that you
removing
want.
variables, removing unnecessary interferences with the experiment so that you can test the thing you're trying to test, not test things that are interfering with the test. That's how science
So when
works.
you're changing the size of your weights, how is that controlling the variables?
Well, the size of the weight is something that I would maybe have as a control variable, right? But the actual the size of the weight isn't actually important, because regardless of the size of the weight, you will still get the same amount of drift on whatever location you're on if the experiment's set up properly. As long as it's an evenly distributed mass, the size really doesn't matter. You can still then measure the drift of the path off of a straight line. Now, again, I just want to point out that there is just more poking holes in the globe here, more not understanding it, and no evidence that the Earth is flat. You're silent.
So if the Earth is truly in motion, then why did the pendulum stop?
Why wouldn't it stop? There's no reason that a constantly rotating Earth would make a pendulum swing. It's not the swing of the pendulum we're looking at, it's the change of the path of the swing. The question you just asked demonstrates a lack of understanding of what the Coriolis forces are. So a Coriolis force is applied to something that is moving on the surface of the Earth, i.e. a bullet traveling through the air's atmosphere, through the atmosphere, or a pendulum swinging backwards and forwards. It is moving, okay? So when it is moving, Coriolis forces apply a force laterally to that thing that is moving. And then you can calculate the drift based on the forces that are applied. If something's not moving, then you're not going to get anything happen. There's no reason the rotation of the Earth. Nothing in physics says that the constant rotation of 0.000694 RPM should make a pendulum swing. That is a very large straw man of the physics behind this.
So how are you controlling for the electrostatic force? Speaking of force,
You can change the material and see if it has a different effect, because obviously different materials would be affected differently by an electrostatic force. And
so how are you determining if it is indeed or not infected?
Because
by the
if you change
electrostatic
the material and repeat the experiment and still get the same result, that shows that it's not electrostatic forces being applied, because different materials would react with different forces to an electrostatic force. It would have different accelerations to the electrostatic force applied. But it doesn't. No,
So again,
regardless of the material. Like one person in my class actually did it with an ice block. And so regardless of the material, you get the same result, which would not be the case if it was down to electrostatics.
So what about an object in motion remaining in motion?
That's with no unbalanced forces applied to it. So a pendulum has forces applied to it, like the friction of the air. If there was no air, then that pendulum would probably go on for a lot longer. But as the pendulum moves, it's backwards and forwards as it's swinging, it's pushing against the air. There's friction applied to it, which is going to take energy away and eventually stop it. So yeah, an object in motion stays in motion when there is no unbalanced forces applied to it.
It sounds like you're controlling the variables to reach the result you want. Because if you're not reaching the result you want, then how do you know that it's actually working properly?
Again, you remove the things that could interfere with the experiment. We just went through that. You're repeating the same question I've already explained to you.
No, because you're looking for the specific degree of rotation, but so you're begging the question. You're already
No.
presuming that you're going to get this rotation, and you're
Well, that's not
only know
begging
that
the
your
question.
setup is
With all
working
due respect,
by reaching it.
with all due respect, that's not begging the question. That's doing science. In science, you make a prediction based on your hypothesis and then test that prediction to see if that thing happens. And it's not begging the question because in science you would do iterative testing. You would retest and retest and retest. So it's certainly not begging the question because we're not just assuming that is the case. We are testing to see if it is the case.
But you're already presupposing that you're going to get this certain degree of rotation.
No, we're testing to
And that's
see
the
if we're
only
going to
way
get
that
that.
you know.
There's no presupposition. There is a prediction. There's a difference. You
And when you don't
predict.
get that, you're changing the variables until you reach the prediction.
No.
Already...
Again, that's not how it works. It's not about not getting the result. It's about making sure the experiment is set up properly, right? So whenever you do an experiment, what you do after that, once you gather the data, is you analyze those results, right? So we analyze the results and we see that there's some discrepancies. Like, okay, well, that's not constant. That's maybe not doing what we quite expected it to. Is there any reasons why that could happen? Let me think. And then you would go back and maybe improve the experiment, remove any undue interferences that could cause a problem with the experiment. That's not just setting it up to get your results you want. That's moving things away that could cause a problem. And once you are sure that all the outside interferences are dealt with, that's when you can actually assess the information that you gather from the experiment.
But the only reason you're assuming that there's a problem is because your desired result is not being achieved.
Well, no, that's not true. We do iterative testing anyway. But again, if you would look at the experiment.
Let me put it this way.
Wait, hold on. Let me finish. You're not understanding the point. If there is something that can interfere with the experiment, you want to remove that. That's it. That's what you're doing.
I agree.
Problems with experiment means experiment not good.
I agree. That's how science works. But let me put it this way. If you were to build another Foucault's pendulum today, if you were to build one right now.
Yeah.
And how do you know that your results are being skewed by any kind of variant in the experiment?
I just went through that with you. Like 100 times, we would remove any problems by looking at the experiment and thinking, is that going to be an issue? Is that going to be an issue? Is that going to be an issue? This is the same question that I have answered a lot of times. Can we move on to a new one?
I'm asking how you come to the realization that there is an issue. How do you decide, okay, well, this is an issue?
Because you would look at the data that you get and analyze it, compare it to your prediction, see if it matches the prediction, and then maybe do some more testing, and then see if you get a different result. All right, you don't just instantly throw away the results. You look at the experiment to make sure the experiment is doing the right thing. If there's an unexpected result, then you think, well, what maybe could be causing that? Oh, let me just double check. And if you went back and found out that that thing wasn't happening, then you would just accept those results. But when you find out that, oh, actually, I've just discovered that this material has a twist in it, and that twist changes over time. Maybe that could be the reason why we got an unexpected result. Well, let me reset up the experiment with a material that I know doesn't do that and see what results we get this time. And if then you did the experiment again and you got the same results outside of the prediction, then you would change your analysis. You would change your what your decision was from the experiment. But what you find is if you change the material and you get a different thing, then that means that something has changed. And you can analyze and see, right, well, now that material doesn't have a twist in it, so we know that's not influencing the results of the experiment. I'm just explaining to you how to set up an experiment here. I really should. This is something you should have learned in high school, frankly.
But you're just reaffirming my point that you're not deciding that there's an issue with the variable until it's not meeting your hypothesis for the experiment. And that's how you're deciding.
That's why you analyze data. Yeah. That's the final step when you're doing experiments. You analyze data, right? And you don't just instantly accept the results, right? You do iterative testing. You check. You double check the experiment. You triple check the experiment. You see if you constantly go back and scrutinize the experiment that you're doing. And you might come to the realization that you've made a mistake. And that is why the results were outside of the prediction. So you're not just trying to get a particular result. You are trying to make sure that the result you get isn't influenced by any other factors. So can we move on? I feel like I've answered that succinctly enough now. Can we move on to maybe you giving some evidence that the Earth is flat?
I was going to say, we can move on. Is there any topics you want to bring up?
Well, I would like you to present evidence that the Earth is flat.
What kind of evidence would you like?
That's not my job. I want you to give me whatever evidence you have that the Earth is flat. Well, that isn't just a misunderstanding of the globe or something. You know, an actual measurement or experiment or, you know, something that is evidence of the Earth being flat and not a globe.
Well, that's a pretty simple one. There's plenty of optical experiments showing that we see too far.
And have you taken refraction into account of all those experiments?
Refraction, that's the magical answer always.
Well, no, it's just a thing that exists. You don't get to hand wave it away just by going, oh, it's magic. Refraction is a thing that exists and has to be taken into account when you're doing observations, especially over water. So the question, has refraction been taken into account in your analysis, is a perfectly valid one.
But you disagree that atmospheric lensing is a thing.
No, it's the atmosphere can do many things. Please don't put words in my mouth. I've never said that I agree or disagree with atmospheric lensing. The atmosphere absolutely at times can appear to magnify things or not. The point is... Sorry? So
you seem to disagree with it when we were discussing sunsets.
No, I absolutely didn't. I said that at the horizon, the sun can change size and shape and everything because of refraction. I agreed with that. Maybe, I'm not sure if you need to listen back to the conversation, but yeah, I don't see the problem there. So anyway, back to the evidence of the Earth being flat. Just saying we see too far without any data to back up that claim, like refractive conditions and everything, doesn't really give any evidence that the Earth is flat.
Well, I think one of the biggest ones is water. One of the biggest issues is water.
Well, what about water specifically?
Well, you can't. Well, water is flat. Water finds its level. You cannot demonstrate.
Well, actually, water isn't flat. It's level, but not flat. And this is shown to be the case in tow tank facilities. Do you know what a tow tank facility is?
I do not. Share with us.
So a tow tank facility is basically a testing basin for ships that are going out to sea. So they have these massive, like, hundreds of meters, kilometer long, tanks of water that they will bring ships into to test them against any hydrodynamics and problems that they may have. Okay. Now, the ships are brought in on rails that are, obviously have to be completely level with the water. And the rails are a specific distance above the water. So, at 100 meters, they will be, say, 5 inches above the water. And then at 800 meters, they will also be 5 inches above the water. Along that whole length, the rails that bring in those ships to be in those hydrodynamic facilities are a specific distance above the water. Now, I can pass to you I can pass to you the specifications of the designs of these to show this. So you have to understand that this isn't just me saying something. This is the engineers that designed it. But those rails that are a specific distance above the water for the entire length are curved. And if the rail above the water that has the same elevation at every single point is curved, that means that the water is also curved. There is something very important about water that flat earthers seem to forget. And that is water isn't special. Water doesn't do anything. It doesn't find its level. Water is like all other matter in the universe. It simply reacts to forces acting upon it. If there is no force acting on it, then water is a sphere. Okay,
at what point does water start to bend? Is the water in my bathtub, is it curved?
Absolutely. There will be a couple of curves on that water. There will be, around the middle, there will be an arc that matches the arc of the curve of the Earth. Towards the edges of the bathtub, there will be, meniscus and stuff that will probably make it curve up a little bit. So the thing is, water is actually never flat, like ever. Water is always curved. Water at sea isn't flat because tides exist and waves exist. But even when it's lying level, when water is lying level, it is measured curved.
So that you're talking ocean dynamics when you're talking about the oceans.
Well, I'm just talking about the oceans in general. They're certainly not flat.
Well, there's ocean dynamics. They're affected by the wind, heat, evaporation, precipitation. There's a lot of effects for ocean dynamics, and the biggest difference in the sea level
my point was that water isn't flat.
Ocean.
Sorry, say that again.
The biggest difference in sea level is between the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean, and there's about 30 centimeters difference on average.
Which is thanks to the gravity potential of Earth and many other things, the coastline and currents and stuff. Yeah, there is differences in sea level, which again goes to my point that water is never flat.
Can you show me water bending and distributing evenly over a spherical surface anywhere other than the globe?
Yeah, I've posted a video of that many times, actually. Have you seen those massive, big spinning balls of water that sit on a high... balls of stone that sit on a high-pressure water spout that end up with water all over the surface of them?
They sit on a pool of water.
Sorry?
They sit on a pool. They sit on a pool of water, which means
the water also attaches to the sphere. Again, the water also attaches to the sphere of the stone. It's all over it.
But it's not distributed evenly.
Well, neither are the oceans on Earth. The oceans on Earth aren't distributed evenly. Yeah, again, the oceans on Earth are not distributed evenly. But the water on that spinning ball will be distributed more evenly than the oceans on Earth.
That's false.
No.
You have a pool of water in the bottom of that ball, and the ball is covered with a very, very thin layer of water, which is not at rest, obviously, but
it's still attached to that spinning ball, right?
It's nowhere near evenly distributed.
But apart from the bit touching the water at the bottom, it's more evenly distributed than the oceans on Earth are. Because that sphere will be a lot smoother than Earth.
To scale, that's not at all the case.
But anyway, water is curved. It's measured curved. That was the point. I asked you for evidence of flat Earth, and you went to water. When water reacting to forces acting upon it is an evidence of the Earth being flat. So do you have any actual
The Earth is 71% water, so I mean...
No, it's not. The Earth's surface is covered by 71% water.
Correct. Thanks for correcting me.
Yeah. And what's your point?
So it's constructed mainly of water.
Well, no, the surface is covered mainly in water.
To you, it's a spinning, water-covered rock in space. I mean,
reality says that it's a rotating oblate spheroid in space that has a very small portion of water on it compared to its overall mass.
Same difference. It's pseudoscience anyway.
Well, you say it's pseudoscience. That's because you don't like it. I'm still waiting for evidence that the Earth is flat.
It's not at all that I don't like it. Life would be much easier for me.
Just claiming it's pseudoscience without any evidence that it's pseudoscience doesn't make it pseudoscience. Pseudoscience is not a thing within the realms of what we're talking about here, unless it's flat Earth. Flat Earthers, when assessing globe Earth evidence, are pseudoscientists. It's as simple as that. Or denialists. In fact, they're pseudoscientists when assessing flat Earth evidence. But I'm not doing anything with pseudoscience. I am talking about actual physics and repeatable experiments and measurements based in reality, like tow tank facilities all around the world. What I've done is I've asked you several times for evidence the Earth is flat, and you've just said things like, well, water's flat, when it's not.
The Earth is measured flat.
No, it's not. The Earth is measured curved.
They're measured in lots of planar measurements put together, and
that's incorrect. It's used with spherical trigonometry, and you have spherical excess, which means it's not planar. So no, that claim is completely and utterly false. Geodetic surveyors do not just take planar measurements and stick them together. Otherwise, they wouldn't measure with spherical excess. Oh, look, that triangle has more than 180 degrees. Weird, that.
Well, plane measurements have been found to be very accurate for a really long time. They've been able to
unless you go like over 750 mile, any large distance, they're not that accurate. In fact, when you look at what planar surveying is, it literally says not accurate over long distances. And it also says that it ignores the curve of the Earth. Not that the curve of the Earth doesn't exist. It says that it ignores it because over the short distances that planar surveying is done, it's inconsequential.
Celestial navigation on a flat plane has been done for eons. It's been done for a really long time.
Celestial navigation is all based on the globe.
No, it's been done from a flat plane, especially in sea navigation.
Celestial navigation at sea is based on a globe, especially using a sextant or an astrolabe. It's based on a globe.
No, they would use a flat plane and they would determine their position.
I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but you're completely and utterly wrong. I'm a subject matter expert in regards to navigating with sextants, as I did it for many, many years, including 100 hours to actually get my certification. Everything about using a sextant has and always has required using Earth's radius and measuring the Earth knowing that it is curved. It is everything about the methodology behind using a sextant is based on the Earth being a globe. The measurements that you get simply wouldn't work if the Earth is flat. Let's talk specifically about Polaris. Now, if you are underneath Polaris and it is your GP, it is directly above you, it's your zenith, okay? Then you move 69 miles away, that drops for 1 degree in the sky, and then you move another 69 miles away and it drops another degree in the sky. Another 69 miles, it drops another degree in the sky. But what you find out is if you plot this on any flat surface, it gives you conflicting positions for the height of Polaris based on simple trigonometry. That is a massive problem for celestial navigation if the Earth is flat. All of the calculations show that the Earth is a globe. The correction tables for it show that the Earth is a globe. The dip corrections show that the Earth is a globe. The refraction adjustments show that the Earth is a globe. I don't know if you've ever held a sextant or done any celestial navigation, but it's based on a globe.
They were designed that way, of course.
Yeah, because the Earth. Yeah, of course they were designed that way because Earth's a globe and it works.
The public go out and make these corrections to make this a spheroid model.
No, that's not correct. Actually, the corrections were done over time. It was like sailors would realize that they were off, and then they would get their adjustments and they would put them together, and then these almanacs were created that over time had the adjustments put into them by people actually doing it. And then what you actually could do with those real-time brute force adjustments is map it out. Funnily enough, if you map out the dip corrections, you get a curve with an arc that matches the curve of the Earth. And that wasn't any assumptions put into that. That was people just going, oh, well, I'm off by this much, so that means I would have to adjust it by this much. And then mapping it out. Turns out it's a globe.
These were derived from measurements on a flat plane.
No, they really weren't. I don't know where you got that information from, but they were not.
They would figure out their position relative to the star's geographical position by taking their zenith, which passes through them into the celestial object, and they'd measure the angle at the GP of the star, or the zenith angle, and they would use the elevation angle, and they could determine their position, and they could put it on polar coordinates.
You've missed a whole bunch of it. You would actually need to do that whole process, say 3 times using 3 different stars, and then create 3 circles of equal altitude, which you would, which maps onto the surface of the globe, and then no, not triangulation, trilateration. There's no triangulation or even triangles in celestial navigation. There is right angles, but there is no triangles. So you don't use triangulation, you use trilateration, which maps onto the surface of a globe once again. But the most important thing is what you do with the angles that you get. You then figure out the angles and you times it by 69.1 miles, which is based on Earth's radius per degree. So the actual methodology of calculating your distance from the GP is based on using Earth's radius, knowing it's a globe. And I would suggest, before arguing with someone like me who is a subject matter expert with sextants, that you study the training manuals that describe how to use them.
So based on what I've read, a sextant works just as well with planar measurements.
Could you cite where? What do you mean it works with planar measurements? A sextant
It works
doesn't.
on a flat
Right,
plane.
here's the
It
thing.
works
Here's the
without
thing. Right.
presuming
A
it's
sextant is right. A sextant is just a measuring device. It measures angles. I can turn a sextant
Correct, and it has to have
sideways.
a
Right, hold on.
horizontal
Let me finish. I can take a sextant and turn it sideways and measure the angle between two things horizontally. It doesn't matter. All right. But it's what you do with the information that you gather once you have measured those angles. And that is all based on the Earth being a globe. And even if it is an assumption, which is not, but even if it is an assumption, the fact that it is based on a globe and works shows that the Earth is a globe.
A sextant is dependent on a flat horizon, though. You have to have that horizontal or it won't work.
Incorrect. The sextant is dependent on just one point on the horizon. It doesn't matter what
Right,
shape
it
that
depends
horizon
on
is.
being horizontal.
No, again, it doesn't matter what shape the horizon is. It's just one point. I can look at a sphere, I can take a massive ball in front of me and look at the top of that sphere from my perspective and then measure the angle between that and anything else. It doesn't matter what shape the horizon is. What matters is the single point on that horizon and the elevation angle compared to that.
Your angles and measurements would be incorrect, though, if the horizon was not flat.
No, again, because you measure literally, if you're looking at a celestial object in the sky, you put the horizon, the point on the sextant at the horizon underneath that celestial object. Again, it does not matter what shape the horizon is. What matters is the angle between the point on the horizon that you choose and the thing in the sky. Again, I would highly, highly suggest studying sextants and the methodology behind them before continuing this conversation, because with all due respect, you're not qualified for it.
Sextants and astrolabes have been used with the presumption of a flat Earth for
Well,
a
that
long
is
time.
incorrect.
Astrolabes
That is absolutely
long
incorrect. As
before
I've
that.
just explained, sextants, the actual methodology for navigating with sextants works on the assumption that the Earth is a globe, because the Earth is a globe. Astrolabes actually show that the Earth is a globe in another way, because you have to have different inserts in the astrolabes depending on where you are on the Earth, and they are based on map projections of a globe.
Astrolabes were designed and created long before the spherical Earth was an assumption.
Incorrect. Astrolabes were not made more than 2,500 years ago.
Right, and it wasn't a spherical Earth then. That wasn't
Well,
the
that's
general
what
agreed upon
Aristotle
consensus
said, that it was
the Earth
a sphere
at that point.
2,500 years ago. We've known that it was a sphere 2,500 years ago. And an astrolabe, again, is an instrument designed with the basis of the knowledge that the Earth is a globe. You can't just say things without researching them. I would highly suggest you research the creation of the astrolabe and the methodology behind navigating with an astrolabe. So, simple question, right? If the Earth is flat and celestial navigation is based on a flat Earth, can you derive the 69 miles per degree using a flat Earth model? Obviously, as a glober, I can derive that instantly because of the shape of the Earth. Are you able to derive that with any flat Earth model?
I would believe so, yes.
Could you describe how, please?
Well, that'd be a pretty hard thing to describe.
Well, just give me the basic maths behind it, how a flat plane can correlate to a change in degree by 1 degree every 6 to 9.1 miles. If you could just mathematically describe that to me, it'd be wonderful. Okay, no, obviously not. So, again, I've asked for evidence that the Earth is flat, and what you've done is you said something about celestial navigation, which specifically uses the assumption that the Earth is a globe. So I will ask the question once more. Do you have any evidence that the Earth is flat?
I've presented evidence that the Earth is flat. You just hand-waved it away.
You didn't. You said a thing says that the Earth is flat without actually explaining how it says the Earth is flat. And I've described to you how it doesn't explain the Earth is flat. That's not a hand wave away. That is giving you a thorough explanation as to why you are wrong. That is the exact opposite of a hand wave. The sextant and the methodology of navigating with a sextant is impossible if the Earth is flat, because there is no way of deriving that 69.1 miles per degree from a flat plane. It's as simple as that. The sextant navigation method requires the radius of the Earth knowing it is a globe. That is in no way based in a flat Earth, and is definitely no way evidence that the Earth is flat. Same with an astrolabe. It was designed with the knowledge that the Earth is a globe, and it certainly wasn't designed before the Earth was known to be a globe. So no, you have not presented evidence the Earth is flat. You've said some wrong things and claimed it's evidence the Earth is flat.
There's also been plenty of radio wave propagation experiments that are not possible on the globe that have been done.
Could you please tell me one?
Well, one of the examples that I brought was Guglielmo Marconi, and he sent the letter S over 2,135 miles from England to Canada, which would calculate
tropospheric scattering is a thing, so have you taken that into account?
Yeah, but it would have had to bounce at least 7 to 9 times off the ionosphere.
Okay, and is there a problem with that?
There is. That's not the way they were propagating the waves. They didn't assume
it
the
actually
waves,
is the way that the waves were
going.
propagated. Again, you're just saying a thing without providing evidence for it. The actual frequency that the radio signal was sent in was the exact right frequency to bounce off the ionosphere several times. So it actually did what we would expect it to do if the Earth is a globe and we have the ionosphere. So once again, it's certainly not evidence that the Earth is flat if it's something that is possible if the Earth is a globe.
Do you have any examples or citations of these radio waves propagating 7 to 9 times off the ionosphere?
Yeah, I actually have an entire list of ionospheric bouncing experiments. I'm pretty sure the U.S. Navy did it several hundred times. Actually, I'll share those papers with you. I'd have to go and find them, but yeah, it's a thing that is actually understood so well that it is used and calculated based on the knowledge of the Earth being a globe. Again, I want to be clear here. I'm not hand-waving away what you're saying. You are hand-waving away the fact that ionospheric bouncing is a thing.
I'm asking specifically if you have any examples of that bounce occurring 7 to 9 times to be able to
the experiment that you just mentioned, Macaroni, that's a good one.
Macaroni, I like that pronunciation better than
I
mine.
did that on purpose.
I like that.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a really good one. You brought that up, so we can use that as an example of it happening 7 to 9 times.
So you actually have no other examples to lead with then?
Well, again, I don't have them to hand right now because I didn't realize you would be bringing up this question, but I can dig into my large evidence library and pass you the papers at a later date if that's what you require. Or I would simply suggest you doing a simple bit of research about ionospheric bouncing and the capabilities with modern technology.
Yeah, if you'd send them to me, that'd be great. I think next time we should present materials beforehand so that we're not fumbling trying to review each other's materials.
Yeah. So again, that's not evidence that the Earth is flat, as it's something that is predicted to be possible if the Earth is a globe. Right, maybe I should refine my question here. Do you have any evidence that the Earth is flat that is exclusive to the Earth being flat and can also be applied to the globe?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, I said that maybe I should adjust my question slightly. Do you have any evidence that the Earth is flat that is exclusive to the Earth being flat and cannot also be applied to the globe?
Yeah, I think water is probably the biggest one.
No, we went through that and how that also matches the globe. So, the fact that water isn't magic, doesn't find its own level, just reacts to forces. And when there's zero forces, it's actually a sphere. I didn't hand wave away. I thoroughly debunked you, and again, I can present you with the technical manuals for the tow tank facilities. That you go to Michael Burtison on YouTube. I think he's the good one. Yeah,
that's obviously a controlled environment.
But
nonetheless,
how's the water being controlled? It's just water at rest that is level, and so is the bar above it the rail above it, but that rail is curved. If the rail is curved and level to the water is also curved.
But nonetheless, you had no examples of water bending and distributing evenly over a spherical surface.
Well, the water doesn't distribute evenly over the surface of Earth, so I don't know why you would ask that question.
Well, how about over 71% of the surface then?
It's certainly not evenly distributed over that 71% of the surface.
As I was saying before, the maximum variance in sea levels between the Pacific and Atlantic, and it's only 30 centimeters.
Yeah, that's sea level, not how deep the oceans are. The water is most certainly not evenly distributed.
I'm not speaking about convexity under the water. I'm speaking about convexity on the water. I'm
not talking about convexity either. I'm talking about the distribution of the water. The distribution of the water on Earth is not even.
Not entirely even, no.
No, it's certainly not even. There's several miles of difference between the bottom of the Mariana Trench and the local shore at your beach.
But I'm talking about sea level. It's not sea curve, it's sea level.
Yeah, level doesn't mean flat. Level, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, adjective 1 of 3, means conforming to the curvature of the liquid parts of Earth's surface. And if you would go to mctoon.net/level, you will find many, many documents from actual surveyors and engineers and everything that show that the true level on Earth is curved. It's not just a thing I've made up. Level in the context of Earth means matching the curvature of the Earth.
If you were to actually... sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No worries. So anyway, water certainly doesn't show that the Earth is flat because water does what we expect it to, thanks to gravity. I guess I have to ask the question again. Do you have any evidence the Earth is flat that is exclusive to the Earth being flat and can also be applied to the globe?
Level water cannot be applied to the... Oh, that's what I was going to say. Is if you actually
you keep saying that, but level water on the globe is the prediction of the globe. So
if you actually look at the definition of level, it has changed massively over the years.
Well, you understand that there's more than one definition of the word level. Like there's nouns, there's verbs, there's adjectives. And again, one of the adjectives of level is conforming to the curvature of the liquid parts of Earth's surface. And that's not the only time that is said. Again, if you go to mctoon.net/level, there is many, many, many documents that show that level is curved. It's not just something I'm making up. It's not just something that's happened recently. There are certain documents from hundreds of years ago and recent documents. Please don't complain. I just want to point out to anyone talking, anyone listening, please don't complain that I am citing mctoon. That is called genetic fallacy. You are attacking the source instead of the information. The information contained within is the important thing.
That's all right. You can chill some bucks for mctoon.
Well, again, it's just his website. It's not a book. It's just his website where he has collected a lot of the data, which is very helpful for myself and others doing this debate.
So is that where you studied at? mctoon University?
No, I studied at Bristol University and Edinburgh University, actually. What about you? Where did you get your degrees?
I have an associate's in business administration.
Oh, you've got an associate in business administration and you think you can debunk the Earth being a globe and all of physics? That's interesting. Well, that is very interesting.
As far as mathematics are concerned, it's just a description.
Well,
it's an agreed upon description that we've all had to agree upon.
What do you mean? Mathematics is just mathematics. It's just what it is.
It's a construct.
One add one is two, and one add one is always going to be two. It's a fundamental natural thing in the universe. One atom plus one atom is always going to equal two atoms. That's not a construct. It's just a thing that exists.
We had to assign that as a descriptor.
Yeah, but that's irrelevant. Why have you all of a sudden started talking about maths? It's irrelevant to the conversation.
Because you were speaking about physics and maths.
Well, yeah, obviously physics and maths are very important when talking about this conversation. But physics isn't just maths. Physics also has the physical mechanisms behind which the maths describes. So, just trying to dismiss a degree in physics and maths as just, numbers is a bit ridiculous. So about that evidence for the Earth being flat. That isn't just saying water, because water kind of shows that the Earth's a globe.
I strongly disagree on that part, but as I said, I rely on phenomenology a lot. You can see that it's flat, it's observably flat, it's measured flat.
Well, it's not measured flat. That's just incorrect. And if you go up high enough, you can clearly see that the Earth, the horizon of the Earth, is curved, including the water. In fact, Mr. Sensible, a good friend of mine and fellow YouTuber, had his project Mage 2, which went up to 36,000 meters and took a lovely, lovely, lovely clip of the curve of the Earth with a non-fisheye, non-distorting lens, which I will show on my stream right now for anyone watching. This is a screenshot I took, and I adjusted the contrast so you can also see the curve of the atmosphere above the water and the ground there. Interesting. Yeah, so no, water's not flat, water's curved. The horizon is curved when you rise up, as you expect it to be.
So where did this picture come from that you're talking about?
From my good friend Mr. Sensible Mage 2's project, where he sent up a excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. He sent up a weather balloon with 3 cameras attached, 2 fisheye, 1 non-fisheye. One fisheye looking out the back for the view, 1 fisheye looking up at the balloon, and non-fisheye looking out the front with reference strings in front that are tight, straight, so anything in between those strings is also, actually as it appears to be. And when he went up to about 36,000 meters, he got the money shot that I am showing now. There's lots of them, but this is just the one that I like in particular. And you've got some water, you've got some land, and the curve of the atmosphere above it. So, do the experiments yourself.
8 inches per mile squared to that?
Sorry, say again?
Can I apply the 8 inches per mile squared to that?
Well, no, because that doesn't include observer height, so you wouldn't apply it there.
You just gave me an observer height, though.
Yeah, but the 8 inches per mile squared doesn't include any variable for an observer height. That's a chord measurement. It's not something you can apply from anything above sea level. I hope you do understand that.
You mentioned that he used fisheye lenses. Did he make sure that all of his shots had the horizon in the middle of the frame?
Again, maybe you didn't hear me. He had 2 fisheye lenses and 1 non-fisheye lens, which is the one at the front actually getting the view. The fisheye lenses at the back were just the one at the back was just for the view, for a pretty picture of a wide field of view. The other fisheye lens was looking directly up at the balloon just to get a pretty picture of it popping. The non-fisheye lens at the front is the one that we are focusing on, because that always, whether the horizon was above the reference lines or below it or in between the reference lines, always showed it curving the way that we expect. So again, the non-fisheye lens is the one that we are looking at on my screen.
So the curve is essentially just an illusion, because the areas over to the side are obviously farther away, and it presents an image of a curve, which is
that's
false.
because the horizon isn't equidistant around us. So if something is
Exactly.
equidistant
So
around you, as you rise above it. Hold on, I was in the middle of talking there. I do apologize. So as you rise above something that is equidistant around you, it will appear to curve. And the only way you can have an equidistant horizon is if you're on a spherical surface. An equidistant horizon is something that simply doesn't make any sense at all if the Earth is flat.
That's not true either.
Well, no, it's absolutely true. There's no reason you would have a defined distance of a horizon all around you. The word horizon comes from the Greek word meaning bounding circle, right? Because it is literally a circle around you at a specific distance, an equidistant circle. That is a result of the fact that you're on the surface of a sphere. There's no reason that would happen if the Earth was flat. It's crazy what keeps happening. I keep asking for evidence of the Earth being flat, and we just keep going back to the evidence that the Earth is globe. So maybe we could just focus on that flat Earth evidence. Like you said, Earth is measured flat. Could you show me a measurement that specifically has the conclusion that the Earth is flat? Is that possible?
Well, planar measurements are done up to 150 kilometers squared. So how much curve is lacking in these measurements if they're not having to apply the curve, which is essentially mathematically, it's mathematically bent after these surveys are done.
No, it's not. That's not how the surveys are done. That's completely wrong. Again, you measure a triangle and see what the angles are that triangle. If the angles add up to more than 100... Again, I was in the middle of talking. I do apologise. If those angles add up to more than 180, which they always do, then the Earth is curved. There's nothing mathematically being added. You are simply measuring and looking at the data. So, no, that's wrong. But back to your planar measurement statement. Planar measurements, again, do not show that the Earth is flat. When you research what planar measurements are, it specifically says that it ignores the curvature of the Earth because over the small distances, it is negligible. Even at the kind of maximum range, it's still very, very, very small that it doesn't make a difference. But geodetic surveyors that measure much larger distances, when they measure it, they find that the Earth is curved. So, again, back to the evidence for the Earth being flat. Planar measurements do not show the shape of the Earth because they specifically ignore the shape of the Earth.
Even when you're doing these so-called geodetic measurements, they have to cut the Earth in half to establish a horizontal to make these measurements.
No, they don't. I don't know where you got that
They do.
from. Maybe
They're called
all right.
polar coordinates.
Again, I guess I'm going to be shitting MC2 again. If you go to mctoon.net/r and click on, I think, the second article there, which is the transcontinental triangulation of the American arc of the parallel, which was a large geodetic survey of the entire continental United States, actually explains the methodology quite well and would debunk everything that you've just said.
Right, and they use that spherical axis to proclaim the globe.
Well, yeah, because that was the measurement. Oh, look, we've measured what this is. Oh, when we add up all those measurements, again, not assumptions, not added afterwards, measurements, you get the radius of the Earth.
But these measurements were established by taking taking sidereal measurements from a presumed flat Earth.
No, they weren't. I don't know where you get that from. There is no presumption of a flat Earth in geodetic surveying. Again, I would thoroughly advise you to go and look at the transcontinental triangulation of the American arc of the parallel. It describes the methodology for geodetic surveying very well. What you've just said is entirely false. And I want to be clear that I'm not just hand-waving away what you're saying. I am specifically refuting what you're saying and telling you where you can find the information to back up what I am saying.
So in 1777, there was a decree, and they were asking the public to essentially help establish this latitude-longitude system, and they were having to make the public make these corrections to make it a spherical Earth, to make these latitude-longitude coordinates work. But all these measurements were derived from the stars with the presumption of a flat Earth.
You keep saying that, but that's not true. Like, I would request that you at some point provide me with a source, a citation that says that all the measurements that you have claimed are made with the presumption of a flat Earth, because it's not true, right? And even if they did ask people for help to finish off the latitude-longitude system, it's something that works and shows that the Earth is a globe, because as you travel south from the equator or north from the equator, the distance around the lines of latitude reduces both ways. If the Earth were flat, it would be a necessity that at least one of those directions, the lines of longitude, would increase. That does not happen.
At this point, now that they've established those latitude-longitude lines, they would coordinate to real positions on a flat Earth, or Earth if it were the shape of a hot dog.
Well, yeah, that's because it's a coordinate system, and the coordinate system can be mapped, yeah. Yeah, you can map a coordinate system onto anything, but when you look at the coordinate system compared to reality... Sorry? What'd you say?
I was referring specifically to latitude-longitude measurement.
Yeah. I'm talking about latitude-longitude. You can map latitude-longitude onto anything, right? But what you need to do is compare that mapping to reality, which is what I just said. If the Earth was flat, it would absolutely be a necessity that at least one of the directions, north or south of the equator, the lines of longitude would get longer. But they don't. Both directions from the equator, they get shorter, which matches the Earth being a globe. And that's just in reality.
But they were designed under the presumption of a globe.
No, they were just a coordinate system that matches reality based on the Earth being a globe. Again, if the Earth were flat, then that coordinate system, the long latitude, longitude on it, the longitude lines would get longer as you go out. But they don't. In reality, they get shorter both ways, which shows that the Earth is a globe.
All right, so we've hit the 2-hour mark. I was going to take a few questions and close this thing out.
Roger.
I did promise that we'd take some questions. I'd be happy to schedule a debate with you in the future. And
I tell you, I would also. Do you reckon you'd be up for hosting a debate between me and someone else? That you know.
Sure. I'd be all for it.
Yeah, you know who you are.
Are they in the audience?
He was here talking earlier. I don't see him there now.
Yeah, I'd be glad to host. I feel like I could be a fair host, and
I'd gladly let you host a debate. It's I'm just trying to figure out. Oh, Brian. Yeah, Brian. That's it. Yeah. I want if you host a debate between me and Brian. Sweet, that'd be wonderful. But I'm happy to take some questions now.
Sure. If anybody wants to request a mic and ask a couple questions, we'll do a few of those before we close out. Don't everybody jump at once.
Shame that we never got to that flat Earth evidence. I was looking forward to that.
So where can we find this curve you're talking about?
Measurements?
Yeah, it's 8 inches per mile square. Where can we go use that to find the curve?
But you could make some measurements. Anywhere.
So I can start in my street here, go 100 miles. I'm going to see a 6,000 foot curvature drop.
If you're taking into account all the your topography of the land and measuring it using actual correct methodology for measuring, you will see the drop predicted. Yeah.
So I can go. You can do that and show me a curve, huh?
Yeah. Again, if you go to mctoon.net/r and look at the transcontinental triangulation American arc of the parallel, it describes the methods for measuring the Earth quite well. Follow those, do the measurements, and see what you get.
Yeah, I've driven 100 miles and I never experienced a 6,000 foot drop.
How do you know that you never experienced a curve when you're level to the Earth?
See, but you're not level to the Earth. You're on a ball.
Yeah, which is level.
No, it's a ball. It's
well, level means in compared to something else.
Flat.
Level does not mean flat. According to Merriam-Webster dictionary,
flat.
You are wrong.
Level, flat. No, according to my whole life, level means flat.
Well, I guess your life disagrees with the dictionary and engineers and surveyors. It's fine. If you want to disagree with the professionals, then that's your prerogative, dude. But
There's you don't know that I worked in construction for 30 years and I've done major construction buildings where I had to take in long distances. And
how long?
How long? I've built buildings the size of your average shopping mall.
Right, okay. So not long enough to take into account the curvature of the Earth then?
It's pretty good to take into account curvature.
No, again, it's so negligible over that distance that you wouldn't need to.
Still show up, wouldn't it?
No, it's very negligible over that distance. Building materials would be able to deal with any curve that's indicated. But again, what you did there was you just dismissed the fact that level, the adjective for level... I'm still talking. What you did was I'm still talking. What you did was you just dismissed the fact that level means curved.
The word negligible. That's what you just...
No, I used the word negligible. I didn't dismiss it. Maybe you don't know what the word dismissed means. I'm confused.
You dismissed my 30 years of building experience. And
I'm saying your 30 years of building experience didn't take into account anything that needed to take into account the curve of the Earth. So,
it actually did.
You're not a surveyor, so you don't need to take into account the curve of the Earth.
I'm a surveyor. I work with surveyors, and
No, you're not a surveyor. You didn't. Are you a geodetic surveyor?
Surveyors. Do you not think I work with surveyors? Is that what
you work with geodetic surveyors?
I work with surveyors. Yes.
Do you work with geodesic surveyors? Yes or no?
All their laser guided.
Do you work with geodetic surveyors? Yes or no?
work with land surveyors that use
Yeah,
their
yeah.
equipment.
Planar or geodetic? Which one?
I don't know which one they fucking use.
Oh, right. Okay, so maybe you should go and find out before you continue this conversation.
Planar or geodetic, it all comes down to the same. The Earth measures flat with either which one you utilize.
The measurements would disagree with you, of course.
Yeah?
No, they wouldn't. The measurements come in flat. You need a geoid or an ellipsoid model that those flat measurements are plugged into to
Incorrect.
then get the spherical measurements. Not incorrect at all.
Yeah, absolutely incorrect. I already explained why that's
No,
incorrect. You
not
just measure
incorrect at all.
Again, I
You
explained
do
why it's
not measure the world
Again, I explained
spherical.
why it's incorrect.
They do
You
not
measure
get-
triangles.
Jimmy,
Again, no,
Jimmy,
no,
Jimmy,
again, I explained
Jimmy,
why it's in. No, I'm talking
Jimmy,
right now. I explained
Jimmy,
why it's incorrect.
Jimmy.
It's incorrect because you measure triangles and then you
That's all
see the
you do is
angles what those triangles have. If the triangles add up to
Yes,
more than
that all
180,
requires
that is a
line
spherical
of
triangle.
sight. Yes, the devices require line of sight, and last I checked, line of sight means straight, not curved. We
Yeah.
do not measure the Earth to be
You don't-
spherical. We measure it
line
to be
of sight
flat.
doesn't mean that
It
the
becomes
measurements
spherical
are
when those-
flat.
The measurements are flat. They're
No,
coming
but
in
the
flat.
actual
The
measurements
line of
would
sight
disagree
is
with you, of course.
required
The
from-
actual measurements disagree with you, of course.
No, they don't.
Well, they
So
absolutely
the actual
do. I will
measurements
now
are not
cite a
obtained.
measurement that disagrees with you. mctoon.net/r, transcontinental triangulation of the American arc of the parallel, disagrees with you.
All right,
I got a whole video that breaks that down.
I'm sure it's extremely stupid, yes.
No, it's not.
But yeah, because you clearly don't understand how the surveyors work, so that's fine.
Evidence from the person it came from, and then look at the evidence. Wasn't that your rebuttal there for mocking your NC Toon fucking university there? You just dismissed his evidence because you didn't like where it came from.
He didn't give any evidence.
You're a fucking hypocrite piece of
He
shit.
didn't give any
Jimmy, you want me-
evidence.
I will give you the evidence. You review the video. You review the points that are being made across the video about that. What is it? The arc of the parallel.
The transcontinental
I
triangulation
will
of the
give you
American
that
arc of
video.
the
You
parallel.
can analyze it, and then you can discuss it with the person that made the video.
And
And it will
does it-
disprove your claims.
and
Every single claim you make will be disproved.
Well, every single claim
Alright,
that I make
Ken,
can't be
let's
disproved
Ken get his
because I've
question,
actually looked at the information required
Hold up,
contained
hold
within
up.
that.
All right, I'm going to
And
come
there's
over
no
there.
evidence.
Ken has his hand up, guys.
You
Ken has
haven't
his
given
hand
any
up.
evidence that the Earth
Shut up.
is flat. Measurements
Hey, now
made by surveyors show the Earth is a curved.
No, the Earth is
Yes.
not curved. All those
Well, measurements
measurements are
disagree with you,
applied
of
to a
course.
Jimmy.
You can argue with measurements all you like, but that just means you're wrong. So that's your problem.
No, they're not getting
Yes.
physical measurements. The measurements they're obtaining
Incorrect.
in the field are not spherical
Incorrect.
measurements.
Bob the science
You're
guy did it himself.
interjecting. You're not listening. You're ready to reply
Yeah.
without listening.
Yeah, that's because you're
You're
saying
ready
things
to-
that are wrong.
No, I'm not.
You are. You're very, very
implying-
wrong. You're very, very wrong.
No, I'm not, Jimmy.
Explain
No.
why plumb bobs diverge then.
Excuse me?
Explain why plumb bobs diverge.
That's not my specialty, but Ken is here. He can help you.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, so you can't explain why plumb bobs diverge, just as long as I know.
All right, Ken. Let's let Ken get his question in.
Plumbow's proved level, by the way.
Sorry?
Yeah, first thing I want to talk about is
What proves level?
he's trying to say that.
Go ahead.
Are you talking or am I talking? I'm sorry.
I
Go ahead.
didn't hear what was said. I asked for clarification of what was said.
I thought I was asked to
Go
ask
ahead.
my questions.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ken.
Okay. So first off, you said that celestial navigation is not triangulation; it's trilateration,
Yeah, absolutely.
and you couldn't be more wrong.
Well, no, actually, I'm not wrong at
I
all. Again, I'm an
provided
expert in
citation.
celestial navigation.
I provided a citation. No. You were very adamant that celestial navigation is trilateration.
Well, it absolutely
not
is, yeah.
triangulation.
Yeah, there's no triangles involved in celestial navigation, so
I
you
didn't
can't
say
do
nothing
triangles.
about that. You said it is not triangulation.
Yeah, it's trilateration.
It is
You know,
literally synonymous. It is literally synonymous.
They're not the
with
same thing.
The term celestial navigation. I
no,
provided a link.
again,
It's in the
I can
Jumbotron.
give you actual
You're
citations. I can give you
welcome
actual
to look at
citations
it.
of manuals that describe how to do celestial navigation from the
I
entire algorithm.
provided a citation.
Yeah, again, I will
provided
give
a
you
citation.
actual manuals that teach you how to do celestial
I
navigation.
provided a citation.
Again, I will give you actual manuals that teach you how to do celestial navigation and
I
explains
have
that it's
provided
again.
a
It's
citation.
amazing how you keep talking when I'm talking, but
And you're
I will give you the
welcome
actual
to look
manuals
at
that
it.
show you that it's trilateration.
And you're
That's
welcome.
how you use it.
To then try and refute it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very easy to
I'm
refute
happy
it
to
because
hear
I will
any
give you the actual
refutation,
manuals
but I
that
want a
show the
citation.
algorithm.
I don't want.
Right,
No,
could you do
that's
me a favor?
actually
Could
not
you
what it
talk me
is,
through the
because you've
entire
said that a lot.
algorithm for celestial navigation?
No, that's not what it is. As if
Ken,
you
Ken,
simply
Ken, could you
saying
talk me
that's
through
not what
the
it is.
entire
Go look at
algorithm for celestial
Tombstone.
navigation, please?
That is not a citation. That is not providing evidence.
Ken, could you please
That
talk
is
me through the
sending
entire...
somebody off on a
Ken, I'm
wild
asking you a
goose chase
question.
to go look at somebody's
Ken, I'm asking you
website
for a question
to
here.
try and find
Ken,
information
hello,
that
I'm
you
asking you a
say
question.
exists.
Ken, hello, right, so Ken, could you talk me through the entire algorithm for celestial navigation, please? Is that okay? Could you do that for me? Do you think you're able to provide me the
Have we
entire
lost
algorithm
him?
for celestial navigation, Ken? So I know what you're talking about.
All I hear is water gurgling.
I don't know why you hear water
It's
gurgling.
coming from Gary H.
I don't see him in there anymore. I think he might have left.
No, I'm still here.
Apparently so. He got called out. He said
They're
that
saying
it was
that
not triangulation.
I'm
but it's
still here.
trilateration.
They're literally pretending they can't hear me.
I provided a citation.
I am still here.
Literally synonymous.
I am
Hello.
actually
Hello.
still
Can I
here.
Provide the citation.
Huh?
Can you provide the citation?
I'm
It's in the
still here.
Jumbotron.
Why can't they hear me?
For
Have they
the first
muted me?
time,
I haven't got
I
a
have
clue.
provided
I
a
haven't got a clue
citation.
what, I haven't got a
It's
clue
in-
what a jumbotron is.
Okay, do you see your profile pic there?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Right
Hello?
up above it,
Yeah. Yeah, I can.
I've literally not left.
Okay.
Why are they
right
pretending
up
they can't
above
hear
it,
me?
You will see some little dots. And if you
Hello?
one, I'm the second one from the left going
Well,
right.
some
If
things
you're
can
all
be
the way
wrong.
left
There's
and
the
you're
thing.
going to the
Some
right,
things
I'm-
can be wrong, but
I'm the
actual
second
manuals
one
will show you
I'm on
that
the
its
right of
celestial
Globe-
navigation
I'm
uses
on the right of
trilateration.
Globeslayer.
Hello?
Okay, well, you asked if I had the citation.
Are you
and
there?
I'm telling you
Hello?
where it's at.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to understand.
Hello?
Okay, it'll say Ken. I'm the one speaking.
Yeah, so
And
I
it'll
can see
like-
Ken, but all it says when I click on you is report.
Let me try refreshing. Go back in.
.com/topics/earth-a
No, nothing.
in the Jumbotron.
No, nothing like that.
Specifically that
Can you hear me?
I'll read it. I'll read it.
Okay, hello?
I'll read it for you.
No, nothing.
It says
FTFE's back.
I never
Oh,
left.
okay.
I literally didn't touch anything. You just all of a sudden couldn't hear me.
Yeah, they just muted you.
No, I
'Cause
reckon,
they do
yeah.
that to me. They do that to me as well.
And then pretend they can't hear me. It's convenient.
Yeah, they just switch the mic off.
Nobody got muted. It appeared like you left the space.
Nope, I was definitely still here. I could still hear you saying, "Oh, look, he's
Okay.
left."
I believe you.
well, you weren't up
I
top,
just
so I don't know.
I just want to say why I wanted to speak, because yet again, Brian shouted and derided people just like it always does. It has
He's
no-
scared to actually debate. Yeah.
Yeah, scared to debate. Yeah, he just does that every time. He just shouts and derides people. So, yeah, Brian, come up to the plate. lad.
Can we take care of my citation first? I mean,
Yes.
I got up to speak.
Yes, please. That was all. That was the only reason I wanted to talk, because of Brian.
Yeah.
But it was minutes after, many minutes after.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you just let me finish,
Yeah,
then
okay,
I'll
mate.
be happy to let you speak, and I won't be long. I only
Yeah, we're
have
gonna
two
let
things.
Ken go. He waited patiently with his hand up and everything, so we're gonna let Ken speak now.
All right. So, first off, that's the citation from ScienceDirect.com. If you have a citation that says that celestial navigation is not triangulation, that it is indeed trilateration, you're welcome to present it. I've presented evidence that specifically tells you that celestial navigation is triangulation and that GPS is trilateration. So I prefer you give me citations and not direct me to McToon's website.
That contains the citations.
If you have a citation and you know where it's at,
again, the citations are on MC2's website.
And we'll take a look at it. Otherwise, again, I have a citation that says,
can you hear me?
Celestial navigation is indeed.
Can you hear me? Hello? Am I still here?
As a matter of fact, I can get another one
that
says
they've muted me again.
Celestial navigation and triangulation are actually interchangeable. They are that synonymous.
Why have they muted me again? All right, I'll refresh it once more. Like, it's the only explanation is that they're actually muting me.
And FTFE's gone again.
No, I didn't leave. You just couldn't hear me.
No, he's still here. He could still hear you.
Okay. Well, I'm waiting for a response.
Well, you need to let me talk.
I'm just assuming anyway. I'm not sure. It just.
Hello? No, muted again. Look, see? They muted me there. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so I don't know why I keep getting muted. It's very strange. Again, the citation is at mctoon.net. That's where the citation can be found.
Okay, well, you're welcome to provide a citation.
Yeah, I just told you where you can find the citation. You can find the citation on mctoon.net.
No. I didn't
That's where you can find it.
I didn't ask you to go find my citation.
Well, I've just told you where you can get the citation. That's if you want the citation, that's where it is.
The words so that you don't actually have to go to the website.
You know, some things can be wrong,
I gave you
right?
the link so that you can go to the website.
Here's the thing.
If you want.
No, have I been muted again?
Don't understand.
Have I been muted again?
You're supposed to provide.
Have I been muted again, or have I been muted again, or?
No, you just keep trying to talk through me.
Yeah, you keep trying to talk when I'm talking. That's the thing. The beginning of your sentence there rudely interrupted the middle of mine. So, maybe you should watch that. Again, you can find the citation all you want at mctoon.net. There it is. Go and find it.
No, that's not the way you do it.
Well, yeah, that is the way I do it.
No. That is not the way you do it.
But it's the way I do it. If you don't like it, then you can go and look at the citation yourself.
I will ask you very explicitly, do you have a citation that says celestial navigation is not triangulation? Because I've provided a citation for you up top.
Yeah. Like I said, you can go to mctoon.net and you can find all the citations there.
Triangulation.
Yeah, again, you can find all the citations there, like I said.
I'm not going and searching Toon's website.
Oh, well, that's your problem. If you don't want to look for the information, that's not my problem.
I don't have a problem going to Toon's website if I want to.
Well, go on then. There we go. Done.
It's not my job to hunt your citations.
I'm telling you where to find it. Just go there.
No, I don't need to go there.
Okay, well, if you don't want to go there, then you don't need to see the citation. That's kind of your fault.
No, you need to. You can't make a claim if you don't have the citation.
Well, I just told you where you can find the citation. That's kind of your problem if you don't want to go to it.
A concession that you cannot provide one.
Well, no, I've just told you where to find it. mctoon.net. There's the address. Go and find it.
Let's move on to 69 miles per degree.
69.1.
Because obviously you're not going to provide a citation.
Well, yeah, I've told you where to find the citation. mctoon.net. Just type in celestial navigation and there it is.
Somehow you seem to believe that 69 miles per degree means that it is a curve.
Well, yeah, that matches.
Okay.
Yeah, that matches the radius of the Earth. That's what it is.
Yeah.
If the Earth is a radius of X, then that's what the 69. I never said it's how you. Do you want me to respond? Or are you just going to keep talking?
Yeah, I asked you, is that what you're saying? And instead, you want to go on a rant about how.
No, I answered your question, and I tried to answer, yet you kept talking. So here's how conversations work, Ken. You ask a question, then you shut the fuck up so someone can answer. All right? So ask your question again.
Go ahead.
Ask your question.
I asked, is that what you're saying? That
Yeah,
69
repeat
miles
your
per
question.
degree means Earth curve.
I've said it matches that the Earth is a curve and does not match the Earth being flat.
Okay, so you're saying it's Earth curve. I'm just trying to
I was pretty specific in what I said. I said it matches the Earth being curved. It does not match the Earth being flat.
So every spot on Earth with a celestial object, I forget how many there are, celestial bodies that we know where their zenith is at any given hour, minute, second. And 1 degree of movement in that celestial body is 69 miles or 60 nautical miles.
No.
So in other words, if I'm standing directly under a star and I have 90 degrees and I wait and I measure again and it's 89 degrees, that means it has 1 degree of movement. That means it's 60 nautical miles away from me. The zenith to that star is 60 nautical miles away, or 69 statute miles, however you want to look at it. That does not mean that the Earth is curving. It means that you have measured 1 degree of movement in that celestial body from your position. That's it.
Which matches the Earth being which matches the Earth being a globe and does not match the Earth being flat.
You make a globe using angle measurements to Polaris for latitude lines and say that that's all on a curve on your ball has nothing to do with the fact that the 1 degree that you measure is the movement of the star.
It's not the movement.
It has nothing to do with the ground under your feet.
It matches the curvature of the Earth. That's what you would expect to happen if the Earth is a globe and the stars are very, very distant. That is the point.
Well,
it matches the Earth being a globe. It does not match the Earth being flat. One of these things is not the same. No, it doesn't. Not in the slightest.
The star's zenith is 60 nautical miles away from me for every degree.
But that again, you map that out. It doesn't match.
Triangulation.
Okay, so then you can use right. All right, let's talk about the triangulation there, because you can actually use triangulation with what you're talking about, right? Again, let's take Polaris for instance, right? So when you're at the North Pole, Polaris is your zenith, directly above you, right? Okay, yeah. You move 69.1 miles away, it drops by 1 degree. Move another 69.1 miles away, it drops by 1 degree, and so on and so on and so on. Now, let's do some trigonometry with that using the triangles, shall we? And see what happens, right? So if you do the calculation for the straight line going up against the hypotenuse, and the other side of the triangle, right? And you take the measurements, say that's 69.1 miles, right? And the angle, which will give you the other side as well. Then you can do a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and figure out the height of Polaris, right? Agreed?
No.
Well, then, if it's not a triangle, then if you're not able to figure out the height of Polaris, because if it is a triangle that you're measuring,
celestial navigation. Whether
hold on, Ken, I'm still talking. Hold on, right?
You said something, and when I go to respond, you want.
Yeah, I haven't finished my question, right? Let me finish, right?
Please continue.
Yep. So, the triangle that you would measure, right? Each of those 1 degree differences for 69 miles, right? You do the maths based on that triangle, and each time you get a different height for Polaris. Either it's a triangle or it's not. Which one is it?
It's celestial navigation.
And does that use triangles?
Answer: celestial navigation, whether you believe it's a sphere or it's flat, does not get altitudes of stars.
Okay, again, do you use triangles, yes or no?
No navigation manual ever says that you can figure out the distance to a celestial
Ken,
object.
you're avoiding my question very, very well. The question is, do you use triangles, yes or no?
Yes.
Right, if you use triangles, then you absolutely 100% can calculate the height of the star. Otherwise, it's not a triangle.
You can't.
Well, then you're not using triangles because you don't have one side. Do you have all three sides of the triangle? Yes or no?
Let me.
Right. What's the base? The base is the 69.1 miles. Yeah. Do you agree? The base is 69.1 miles. Yeah. Is that right?
Harold Jacobi.
Harold Jacobi said the Earth's a globe, so there's that.
Wait a minute. Harold Jacobi. His book Navigation. He was a professor.
Yeah, and that book confirms the Earth's a globe. So, but you're avoiding my question, right?
Yeah,
the question
that
is
changes everything, correct? So when he says that lines drawn to the horizon and the zenith is a 90-degree angle. That's your
that's your right angle. Yeah, that's not a triangle.
And you're adjacent. And what are you shooting? You are taking your measurement. What is that measurement? Oh, that's your hypotenuse. It is a triangle. You're utilizing a
right. Yeah, well done. Triangle. Wow. Right. So if it's a triangle, then you've got three sides, correct? One side is the base, which would be the surface, I guess. The hypotenuse the hypotenuse would be based on what your angle is, the longer side.
Right.
Okay, so that leaves your third side, right? Yeah. So that third side will have a numerical figure. If the bottom is 69.1, right, and we get what the hypotenuse is from the angle, that means that the zenith of that star from that point will be calculatable because you have a triangle. Otherwise, it's not a triangle. Simple as that. The thing is, Harold Jacobi, everything in that book that he wrote is on the assumption that the Earth is a sphere.
On a globe, you talked for a long time.
Yeah, and I was literally, if you waited 5 more seconds, I would have finished.
Sure.
Ken, you've talked for a long time.
Yeah. So again, if there's a triangle, then you can calculate the height of any star on the flat Earth. If there is triangles, but there is no triangles used in celestial navigation, none at all.
Great. Now calculate the height of the star on a globe. Go ahead.
You don't do that because you don't use triangles.
Oh! We don't have to do it on a globe, but you have.
Yeah, because on a globe you don't use triangles, but you're claiming you use triangles, and if you do use triangles, then you will be able to calculate the height of the star. But because we don't use triangles, there would be no way to calculate the height of the star.
You just admitted that Harold Jacobi is a globalist. That he believed in the globe.
He knows the Earth's a globe,
He's the one that said lines drawn to the horizon and the zenith are a right angle, 90 degrees.
I am not arguing that. Right? Okay, I am saying that there is no triangles. There is a right angle, no triangles.
Then let me ask you a question. If you're not using
right, is someone at a fucking restaurant? What is all that noise?
Here is, I don't know whose speaker that is. There ain't no noise here.
Right, that's gone. Right. So let's be clear, right? If the Earth, if with celestial navigation you use triangles, which is your claim, yes? I want to be clear. You are claiming that within celestial navigation you use triangles. Is that right?
Yes. Triangulation. Right? Yes.
No. Do you use triangles? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. If you use triangles, that means you will be able to calculate the distance of each of the three sides of the triangle, right? But because you don't actually use triangles in celestial navigation, there is no triangles in celestial navigation, it's impossible to calculate the height of any star because that's not how it's done. But if you use triangles, then you would be able to calculate the height of the star, and that would disprove the flat Earth because it would give conflicting positions for every celestial object based on the physical measurements of reality.
That's not what you take it for.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Do you understand why you need that right angle? I don't think you understand.
Again, subject matter expert with sextants here.
I listen to you and you say, give me 5 seconds, I'll be done. And as soon as I start talking, you want to start ranting right over me again. There is
go on, Ken. Say something wrong again. It's fine. Just get on with it.
Do you know why you need that right angle?
Because it's an elevation angle.
You are a subject matter expert. Please tell me why you need that right angle.
Because that is from the GP of the star.
Nope, that's not why you need that right angle.
That's the right angle. The right angle is from the GP of the star. right? That's where you get your 90 degrees from that you would subtract the co-altitude angle, right?
But if your ground is curved, you don't have an angle.
Well, yes, you absolutely do. You can calculate an angle from any surface.
Do not.
You can calculate an angle from any shaped surface.
Go on CAD, make you a sphere.
And calculate an angle from the top of a sphere to something, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Right, you realize that. Right. Okay, so let me explain to you how a sextant works, right?
Ken, you to the GP to the zenith.
Ken, you know you can calculate angles between anything.
What that angle is.
Again, you know you can calculate angles from anything.
You don't know why you need a right angle, do you?
Yeah, I explained it to you and you didn't listen. You have that 90 degrees, which is your right angle, which you subtract your co-altitude angle from, which you then times by 69.1 degrees, which gives you the radius of the Earth and the distance you have to travel. Simple as that, okay? Now...
Simple as that? Okay, wait.
Very, very simple as that,
Let me respond
to
that.
So, no, I haven't finished my point. I haven't finished my point, right? You claimed that you cannot get an elevation angle from a curved surface. That is just completely and utterly false.
I didn't say that.
That was your exact words.
You can't have a 90-degree angle from you to the GP to the zenith of the star. If
that 90-degree angle isn't actually on the surface of the Earth. That's the thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that, you know, again, the line, you know, the baseline of you know, your angle isn't actually the surface of the Earth. It's an imaginary line between you and the horizon, right?
Okay.
And I have to quickly explain to you how a sextant works again, because you can get an angle between anything with a sextant. I can take a sextant, turn it on its side, Ken. I can take a sextant and turn it on its Ken. I can take a sextant and turn it on its side and calculate the angle between any things. It does not matter.
Yes.
The shape of the surface. Okay.
Yes.
So what you said is ridiculous.
You can get the angular distance between two mountains.
And that's all it is. That's all a sextant is it's measuring angular distance.
It measures
so you measure the angular distance between something in the sky and the horizon.
Angle measuring tool.
Yeah, and you've never held one, have you?
And the mariner's sextant is used specifically to utilize the horizon, because you can get bubble sextants and, you know.
Yeah, okay. I've used sextants for hundreds of hours, so I know how sextants. You know, I'm the only person here who's ever held a sextant. So
well, you're the one that felt you needed to tell me how a sextant worked. And
because you clearly haven't a clue.
And I never even talked about the sextant.
We're talking about taking the angles which you use a sextant for.
Right angle triangle. Why do you not?
Again, there's no triangles.
Why do you not? You have to utilize a triangle.
No, you don't. You use a right angle, not a triangle. You don't. There's no triangle. There's just a right angle. There's no triangles.
You're measuring the other angle.
Again, there is no triangles in celestial navigation.
You're measuring the other angle.
You are subtracting the co-altitude angle from 90 degrees. That is it.
Yes, you need the co-altitude. And how do you get it? You have to subtract
by measuring the angle between something and the horizon, then subtracting the co-altitude from 90 degrees. That's it.
So let me ask you this. I'm standing here and I'm looking at the North Star. Now, my zenith and that star would be the co-altitude. Correct?
Say it again. I was just I got distracted by something. What did you say?
I'm looking at Polaris. My zenith and Polaris would be the co-altitude. Correct?
Your zenith and Polaris, right? So the co-altitude is the difference from, you know, the angle that you take. It's the other side. Right?
Right. If I was to measure the angular distance between Polaris and my zenith, that would be the co-altitude, correct?
Yeah. Right. So you take the elevation angle and you reduce. You get your co-altitude, so the other side, right? And it's not even right. Here's the thing: it's not even a right angle on the GP of the star, right? The right angle would be basically from your co-altitude, really. That's where you get the right angle from. There's no right angle like at the GP of your star if the Earth is a globe. That would be if the Earth was flat.
Why do you keep going off like that?
Because I was responding to what you said.
As soon as I start to get to a point, you got to start talking about right angles again.
Yeah, because that was your point.
No, it was not my point.
Right, okay, Ken. Right, before we continue this conversation, do me a favor. Could you talk me through the algorithm for celestial navigation?
No.
Oh, do you not know it?
No.
Oh, well, maybe if you go and learn the algorithm for celestial navigation, then come back and have the conversation. That would be helpful. Why don't you know the algorithm for? If you're here arguing with me about celestial navigation, why do you not know the algorithm?
So I'm just going to go ahead and say it because you're not going to let me talk. You're going to go off on another tangent.
Well, no,
So
I was
the
just.
idea
I want
being
to
is
understand
on
if you.
your globe, on your globe, my zenith and the GP of Polaris, where Polaris would be zenith, we have diverging zeniths. In other words, they're going away from one another. So the angle for the co-altitude distance, that angular distance of the co-altitude would be far greater than the distance between me and the GP.
What are you talking about? I mean, again, you're not talking about celestial navigation at this point.
You can't have right angles and subtract from 90 if you have diverging zeniths.
It's individual for each point.
Your zenith.
Again, it's individual for each point.
The star, the ground position, and where you're standing is a box. And when you measure your angle to that star and measure it down to the horizon, and you get that angular distance, you subtract it from 90, and it tells you what the co-altitude is.
Yeah, we've been through that.
Yeah, but you've got diverging zeniths.
That doesn't matter.
So you can't subtract from 90, can you?
Well, that's why you have dip corrections.
No, that's not dip correction.
Yeah, that's how you get the actual baseline is by adding your dip correction.
Height of eye above sea level.
Yeah,
that is your dip
you apply to get the 90 degrees, and that you have to actually calculate your dip correction and stuff.
That is to get the 90 degrees as close as you can.
Exactly.
So if I want to get in a lifeboat and take that elevation angle, I don't have to do a dip correction because I'm very close to the surface of the water.
Well, no, you always have to do dip corrections in celestial navigation.
No, you don't.
Well, yeah, you do.
If you're close
it's part,
enough to the water,
again, it's part of the algorithm for celestial navigation. You have to do dip corrections.
If you are less than 5 feet from the water surface when you take your elevation angle, you
still need to do dip corrections.
Dip correction.
The algorithm for celestial navigation disagrees with you, of course.
No, it doesn't.
Can you demonstrate the height of the tangent using the triangles?
Is this the Ken show? Is anybody else going to get a chance to talk?
Yeah. Ken, right, I would highly suggest that you go and look at the algorithm for celestial navigation, the methodology behind it, and try not to use a introduction to mineralogy and petrology as your main source. Maybe actually use a source that specializes in celestial navigation. Just a thought.
Just a thought.
Yeah. I can send you some very good actual training manuals for celestial navigation.
Triangulation. You're actually triangulating your position.
Well, the trilateration disagrees with you, of course, but again, what we do, Ken, is I will nicely, just for you, Ken, I will send you some actual books on celestial navigation, or at least the links to them that you can read at your own leisure, okay? Instead of using an introduction to mineralogy as your source for celestial navigation, I will actually give you a specific celestial navigation source, okay?
It's pointing out that it is triangulation.
Well, maybe there's a reason it's wrong. Just saying. Well, yeah, maybe because you didn't use maybe because you used a source that isn't specializing in celestial navigation. They didn't get everything right. How about if you use a source that specializes in celestial navigation? And like I said, Ken, I will send you a manual for celestial navigation which will explain to you the trilateration method used. Okay? Anyway, yeah. So next.
Yeah, GPS is trilateration. But
GPS uses trilateration, yes.
You send me whatever you want. You didn't come up with your citation.
Well, yeah, because I don't have it with me right now at this very second. I will get it for you later.
You're not going to because you can't find it.
Well, I will send, like I said, I will send it to you later. I will send you the actual manual for celestial navigation that I use as my reference.
I think he's lost connection again.
No, I haven't. I'm here.
TB wanted to say something.
Why? Hello. Refresh it again.
I think he's gone now.
Oh, maybe he's disappeared again. I mean, said.
Last week, take over co-host.
Hello.
So I can go and you guys can.
Anyone
keep
there?
Speaking if you'd like.
Can you hear me? Mic check. No, no one there. Right. Well, I guess that's it then. So we've got TM here, who says that I am openly lying about toe tanks. Oops, that's not the thing I was supposed to hit. Yeah, he says he's looked into it and I'm openly lying on the topic. Of course, he's not looked into it, and if he looks up toe tank facilities, he'll see that I'm absolutely right. May even be visiting one. Alright, let's get this back over here. Well, that was fun. Globeslayer didn't slay the globe. That's for sure. Oh, guys, that was fun. The past two debates, I feel like I've been kicking fucking puppies. It's been quite interesting. The baby Flerfs that don't understand anything, really. Yeah, Rumpus, when I was talking about 90 degrees for the GP, I was talking about if the Earth was flat. Obviously, that's what I meant, just to clarify. I mean, they can't hear me there. Every time I go in, they say that I'm not talking. I'm convinced that they're just, muting me or something so that I can't actually talk. I really need a pee-pee, okay? So I will be back in 1 minute. I don't want to do a Riley and stream on stream. So please enjoy this little musical interlude.
Oh, Cheswick is a wanker. He wears a tinfoil hat. The conspiracies he believes in just make him look a twat. And everybody laughs at him when he tries to write a tune, 'cause every single word he sings makes him look a loon. Now Cheswick went on mastermind to prove the earth was flat, but he sat there looking gormless, just like Daniel Pratt. When they asked him for some evidence of a non-rotating disc, he spouted loads of gibberish and sounded like he's pissed. Mr. Cheswick is a loser. He tried to strike fight down. He didn't know Craig's a sailor, which made him look a clown. His online views are pitiful. He's as popular as the clap. He talks about conspiracies and believes the world is crap. Now Cheswick's brand of stupid is something to behold. He says that COVID's just made up and he thinks that moonlight's cold. Well, he's a prick of all trades and a master of none. And when you ask him simple things, he just says, oh, well, when Cheswick talks geometry or distance to the sun, he just comes out in a nasty rash and then he bites his tongue. He's clueless how to use a sextant or theodolite. He runs away from easy questions at the speed of light.
Oh, that is a good one. I need to make a lyric video to that. Oh my god, my mouse is not working. I cannot switch the screens back. I need to have a look at why my mouse is not working. Got a bloody expensive mouse and it's like not doing what it's supposed to. pardon me. Apparently there's a meme or something in the Discord for me by I Spank Myself. Oh goodness, there's lots of messages. My God, come on, mouse. What are you doing? Okay, got that. Zoomy, where are you? I can't see you. DM me the thing, Zoomy. Thank you, guys. What an absolute dumpster fire from the flat earthers over the past couple of debates. They really have no clue. No idea why he called himself the Globeslayer, because he really fucking isn't. Oh my God, what is happening with my mouse? Like everything I'm pressing, just nothing's happening. I don't know what to say really. The stupidity of flat earthers never fails to surprise me. Oh, the doubt. Yeah, I think I'm gonna add that to a video, Zoomy. Thank you. Insane. 305 new members today. That's a lot of new members. I guess Ziggy's been in the chat. Thank you for watching. The stupid, it's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. I'm going to read super chats and go to bed because it's nearly 2 in the morning. It's a Rubik's for $2. Oh no, I've read those. Let me get down to the ones I haven't read. Pig Venus, member for 10 months, just wants me to say his name. Pig Venus, Pig Venus. It's a Rubik's $5. Have you considered that it's the physicists that misunderstand physics and the Flerfs are right? No, absolutely fucking not. Toads in My Eyes, member for 9 months, says, I'm so excited for all the flat earth evidence and not a single nutter about the globe instead of explaining a flat pizza world. That didn't happen. Urgity for $4.99 says, some guy replied to me with an edited picture of the buoyancy formula. He removed gravity and said he removed the pseudo force. Not kidding. Well, if they just ignore gravity, I guess they can debunk it, right? Tintully $5 says, a toast to absent companions. We miss you, Limey. Limey. Wherever you are, I hope you're not in pain anymore. Non-existent for 8 months has been a member, says, thanks to everyone who got me to this milestone. This community is the best. Is that 8 months of gifted memberships? Fucking hell. Icy Spin 199 says, did you get pre-approval from Nancy? Could be it. Yeah, sorry, I really should speak to Nancy more in HR, right? Dapper Dino, member for 4 months, says, even back in the Jurassic era, we knew the Earth is a globe. Kapla, FTFE. Kapla, my friend. Rachbot, $5 Australian, says, it's a good thing you sent me this update. This would have caused a crash for sure. Gotta lie, the Flerf. Yeah, I look after my AIs after the problems with Gary. My AIs now, I tend to make sure they're updated to deal with the stupidity of flat Earth. Icy Spin, 199, how do sailors get internet in the middle of the ocean? Magic. That's the obvious answer. Theodore Paul, 499, says, for eclipses, it wouldn't matter if the sun moved around the Earth. Craig, you took his bait for relativity combo, could have crushed him on geocentrism. It's a problem with flat earthers, they can't stick to something. IceSpin109 says, show Red's time-lapse. I tried to find it, it seems to have been removed. Siggy Sigwell for 20 IRS says, thanks yo for the love in the chat. Thank you, Siggy, we love you. IcySpin199 says, why do shadows on buildings from bottom up at sunset? Well, because of magic. Just fairies and unicorn farts and stuff, right? Vic from Canada, $6.99. The guy's losing his mind and Craig's reaping all the benefits. Anyone who gets the reference is pure gold. We get it. Laura Luna's Poo, $2 says, Earth big, you small. Brain small for flat earthers, that's for sure. Ziggy Sigwald gives 50 memberships. You're all getting memberships. And then he says, you gotta catch them all. Yeah, playing Power World at the moment. I want to fucking catch them all. Donald Trump's 116 indictments says he's been a member for 45 months. Cheers, Donald. Evidence of Pizza Planet today? Don't be fucking stupid. Vic for $13.99 says, also I figured it out. Flirfing is just people needing to learn about science that smart people know, but they're too old and stubborn to be students, so they learn by arguing with the teacher. Yeah. Here's the thing. At school, I remember arguing with the teacher and the experts was just called failing, right? Siggy Sigwald 666 ARS. If I was a Flerf and a simple pendulum contradicted my wholeheartedly held idea that the Earth is flat, I would question my idea. How is it that people find with questioning reality when it doesn't conform with their idea of how things should work? Because, and, you know, I don't say this lightly, Siggy, but Flerfs are fucking idiots. And another 666 says, so the sun doesn't change in angular size during the day, so it's not really getting away from my position. Some magic must be happening because the Earth is flat. Flerfs breathe because they don't need to think about it. Yeah. They do have problems walking and talking at the same time. Juan Pablo Lamel, member for 2 months, says, if water finds its level, explain tides. Yeah, I know, right? Water finds its level, but there's different levels. Lord Luminous Poo for $10. Experiment results, maybe wind, do it inside. Same results, maybe static. Ground first, inside. Same, maybe it's magnetism. Make it out of wood, inside. Ground first, same result. Okay, maybe it's... Yeah. Iterative testing, brute force. That's how we science. Ziggy Sigwald gives another 50 memberships. Guys, just look under your chair because there's probably a membership there. Thank you, Ziggy. Stephen Jarvis for £2 says, cheers, Ziggy. I will sleep now. Sleep well now, cheers. How dare you sleep? The stream hasn't finished. Stringer News 1 for $2 says, Sea Lion Earth confirmed. Sea Lion. Connell Silverfur for $5 says, as I told MC Toon, all Flermen are dum-dums. They're all suckers lacking any charms. Hope that pun translates across the pond. No, I didn't get it. You have to explain. Nerd Alert for €2 says, Flat Earther says, respect my authority. Nah, Flat Earthers are dim. Traveller X, member for 48 months, says, why do so many Flerfs claim to be surveyors at some point? Gotta lie to Flerf. I know. CV McCullough, member for 13 months, says, 30-year-old guy needs to tell FF/FL he's on a concrete slab. Okay. Al Trucker, member for 8 months, says, as a previous constructor for many decades, it's scary to think of anyone building with this misunderstanding of the world they build. Know your survey. Yeah. If a Flerf says they're an expert, they are not. Connell Silver for $5. Flerman demand citations, but in logic and rhetoric, a subject matter expert can be his own citation. FTFE, you owe them nothing but your expertise. No, I know. But they're dumb as fuck, remember? It's a Rubik's for $20. Thank you very much. Says, you fell victim to one of the classic blunders, the most famous of which is never get involved in a land war of Asia, but only slightly less well known is this never go into a flat earth debate with facts and citations. Yeah, honestly, I should just start playing fucking video games during my debates. Siggy Sigwald 50 IRS says, this is like my grandma trying to explain to me how OpenStack works. Marcus Wynn 499 says, Ken has the Eagles, globe and anchor as his profile picture. Ken's a fucking idiot. Oh, come on, mouse. Oh, no, stop. Fuck YouTube $2 says, every time you debunk a Flerf, it's dip correction. Oofed. Siggy Sigwald 666 ARS says, thank you, Siggy. FTFE, next time just draw it and show them. It's going to be as useless because they can't think, but at least it'll be educational and entertaining for people who aren't legally blind. Hail Sagan. Connell Silver for $2. The issue with your explanation, not enough crayons. Yeah, they ate them all. Sorry, I couldn't use them. MB, £5. Flerfceptive git keep muting you. The truth hurts them bad. Yeah. Either there was problems with X or they kept muting me. But from my understanding of spaces, you can't mute an individual person, just the entire space. So I'm not sure. Bill Tetley, $5. Fight the flat shirt, you sexy beast. Here's my obligatory NASA hush money donation. Thank you very much. And shh. Bill Tetley, $2 says, do you think we can, pretend that we'll get there? We'll get there. Siggy Sigwald 50 Eris says, here's some money to buy batteries for your mouse, FTFE. It's got an internal mouse and it's charged. I think the USB for it may be too far away. IceSpin 199 says, did PhD Tony debate Mercedes on modern day debate today? I don't know. I'd like to find out. I'll be back real soon with more debates. I'm still undergoing a lot of pain right now from my tennis elbow. Doesn't mean that my guns aren't there. Yeah, Flerfs, see, that is a muscle. Stop arguing with me. But Tiny Captain, member for 2 months, says different zeniths are not parallel, they're perpendicular to the not parallel horizontals. Well, yeah, that's too many words for flat earthers, though. Thank you everyone for watching. You've been amazing. But, mouse work. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky, when my mouse works so I can fucking click it. Come on. Now I've lost my cursor. Right, I think my USB connector for it is too far away. Yeah. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars?
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now.
Good morning. These words come with a storm warning. Better batten down the hatches, grab some matches and brace yourself for a long day of misery. YouTube has given me the power to reach up into the sky and show you all that we live on the ball. I bring you science that's comprehensible. Your view is indefensible. You're reprehensible. Go on, Mr. Sensible. When I was young, I never thought I would be here to see this. A pile of random nonsense dressed up as bullshit. Your ignorance will be the death of us all, like running head first full speed into a wall. You could always read a book, buy a telescope, set it up and take a photo of the moon, or just be a buffoon. I send you in a balloon up to the stratosphere on page 3.
You're a few fries short of a happy meal. You're dumber than a box of hair. The wheel's spinning but the hamster's dead, and you're smart as bait. You forgot to pay your brain bill. You're missing a few buttons on the remote control. 24 cents short of a quarter. You're surfing in Nebraska. You're as bright as Alaska in December, and you fell out of your family tree. You don't have all the cornflakes in one box. You got an IQ of 2 and it takes 3 to grunt. The elevator doesn't go all the way up, and there's a vacancy on the top floor. Your antenna doesn't pick up all the channels. You're several nuts short of a
You're Mr.
fruitcake.
Sensible, calm down, don't go too hard. You don't need the hard burying Flerfs in your backyard. You're a man of science, poise and grace. Mage 2 did everything to wipe the grins off the face. So Nathan, get away from those kids. The world is not flat and it doesn't have a lid. Recognize the differences between the textbook and the Bible and control yourself. Lay off your slander and your lies. You're a bunch of knobs poisoning the well of the youth, spreading lies that you like to claim as knowledge and truth. Stop spreading fresh bullshit like the butter on your bread. Maybe a musical assault will knock some sense into your head. I hope one day you'll hear these lyrics and smile, and you realise you used to be a 40-year-old child. Now it's time to wake up, open your eyes and see, and acknowledge the existence of.
You're a few clowns short of a circus. Your phone is off the hook. Your sewing machine is out of thread. You're all foam and no beer. You don't have all your dogs on one leash. An intellect rivaled only by garden tools. There's no grain in your silo, and your skylight leaks a little. Your belt doesn't go through all the loops. You pour water out of the boot without instructions on it.
Hey guys, you want to hear a funny story while we're all chatting? I'm taking the first
You're
grader.
proof that evolution can work in reverse. A few feathers short of a whole duck. One fruit loop short of a full bowl.
In the night sky are like shooting stars.
I'm a dumb flat earther and I don't understand science.
Brain right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars?
Level.
Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now.
You thought it was over? Well, I'm still standing while you're swinging, flinging feces, talking shit just like the human centipede. You got the mind of a chimp, and I'm here to expedite your shore leave. Cause I'm a seaman, but not the kind I writ up on your mum's gums. I'm the kind that sailed submarines and fired guns. I could float a boat across the ocean with my eyes closed, circumnavigate the globe with a compass and a bag of sausage rolls. Well, all you can do is nibble on your toes. I'll smack you with the hose that you call a water level, sit and swivel. You nasal gazing muppet, you can stuff it harder than the water stuff by Warren Buffett. And I don't care about your sauces unless you're serving them. And I don't care about your lines unless you're curving them. Now step away from me, you're sucking up my oxygen with the vacuum where your brain should be, you dumb fuck. Yes, indeed, you dumb fucks, flat earthers. Why? Just why your parents not love you enough to send you to school? Were you run over by an 18-wheeler, just reversed over your skull a few times? Did you get fed lead paint as a child? These are all things that I ask myself all of the time. I honestly can't believe that there are people dumb enough on the earth to think the earth is flat. You're all fucking idiots. Every single one of you. remember, guys, that stupidity, yeah, you know, that thing that flat earthers have in abundance, it's not right. Fight the flat earth. Fight the flat, 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 fight the flat,
Hey guys, you want to hear a funny story while we're all chatting? Dude, I'm taking the first grader.
Fight the flat, 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 fight the flat,
Official Flat Earth and Globe discussion. We got 140,000 members in there. The group was just deleted a few minutes ago.
Level